are back in the studio. Season 4, episode. I screw this up every time, dude. Every time. 4 or 5? 4.
But I can't save you because
It's
I
4.
have no idea.
You have no idea.
I
think it's 4.
Sit down.
I think it's 4.
4 is a good number.
We're gonna go for it.
Good.
We got Mark Hill, the segment in the studio. Well, kind of in the studio. Let me see if I can show
the crowd.
I gotta show the people, right? Mark, I gotta show the people, right?
Definitely show them behind the scenes.
There we go.
There I am.
We got him in the studio.
There he is.
I mean, we could just
here.
switch the show this way, and then just like you're just in the studio.
It's like
Nobody
that
would
South
ever
Park.
know, right? Drop that.
That South Park Halloween episode where they had him on the iPad and they just wheeled him around.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't go trick or treating.
Oh, and I forgot. This is the Halloween episode.
Oh,
I can't. Yeah. That was the other thing. The studio, as everybody can see, is themed in orange. We tried to get your studio into orange, but
yes, I couldn't.
Lost the controller.
Yeah.
Lost the controller. It's
a little bit of a purplish blue. I mean, this one right here looks pretty kind of.
Hey,
but
you see those spooky colors in Halloween.
But this is the vibe for the show, right? This is like the vibe for your show, right? Like this is your like colorway. This is your studio.
Yeah.
Yes, the studio. This is crazy. This is a studio within a studio.
We
fellas.
are studioing within a studio. Hit that wide shot again. You guys see this? This is the amount of
like
tech going on.
Facing each other, where it just keeps going forever.
This might be a Black Mirror situation, and we're in some sort of matrix. This feels rough.
It would be trippy if I like was able to reach out of the screen and pick up something off the couch right there.
Oh yeah, we got to do that.
That's when we get into like hologram technology and then we have holograms in the studio. I think that could happen.
We need an extra to have an arm come out of the screen.
Right,
like it's with the same jersey on and stuff.
Well, whatever tech we have, we'll have it on.
We didn't think this through. We should.
That'd be pretty funny. That'd be epic.
Well, whatever tech we get in here, we'll make sure to share with the segment so that you get it in your studio.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I want to tell our audience about who you are and what you got. And I don't know how many people in Northwest Arkansas are tuning in for what's going on in SoCal, but me and Scott were talking about this in the beginning, or like before we started the show, was that you bring on guests from all over the place. You don't just it's not just SoCal, it's everywhere.
Yeah, all over. I think one of the last guests I had was North Shore Betty up in the BMW.
Whoa!
Oh wow!
Up there.
Yeah, that was good. And then a couple Rampage riders, trying to get them booked in to hear their experience from it. Both, I got one female and 2 of the guy riders that are a strong possibility. So
Rad.
Yeah.
And forgive me for not remembering his handle, but I think the guy that's from New Zealand that's on your show all the time was on our show.
Octodad, dude.
He was on our show.
Marty?
Marty,
dude. If you're in the chat. Oh, by the way, another preface. This is a pre-tape show, and we have some other things to talk about this pre-tape show later on. We'll get to it in a little bit. But the fact that it's pre-tape, Marty, if you're there, dude, thank you.
What's up, Marty?
Thank you.
Do we have the recording of the audience so we can make it like laugh and stuff?
Laugh tracks. I should probably add laugh tracks to the studio.
Do I have it?
Do you?
I have it? I don't know.
When we're working with 2 podcast studios on top of each other,
somebody's got to have it. I threw in the
can happen
when you came on, like the old school.
There we go. That's good. Did I hear it? Did I hear something?
Yeah, did you hear?
Oh, it didn't come through though. It didn't come through fully. Like,
it wasn't pushing through.
Yeah, it's probably like maybe like your sound card settings on the output because this is a Zoom call or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh well. That's a little Halloween stuff going on right here, making it very. Let's see if you guys can hear this. Nada?
No.
Nope, didn't.
No, dang it.
It's just me pushing buttons.
Guys, we didn't plan well enough.
Yeah.
we could have.
We have ideas. There's always room for improvement.
There's room for improvement.
Right.
That's
and
right.
We just stumbled across
next year's Halloween episode. We should have you on next year for Halloween, and we should probably dress up or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to commit us to too much. Hold on.
That's true.
But
anyways, so like our audience may be some people may know, especially with YT being here now, there's like some kind of gap bridge there, but a lot of people aren't too sure who Mark Hill is, and a lot of people kind of are familiar, but you have a very successful podcast called The Segment. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I started hosting the Segment podcast in 2022, I think, October 2022. Whoa. So that puts us we're like what, two years in right now?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking good. We're looking good. Just recorded episode, I think 165.
Nice.
Jeez, banging them out.
And you have some of the best guests, man.
You really do pull them in, man.
You pull in some good ones.
You pull in the good guests.
It's been fun.
What if I'm not mistaken, you're similar to me. You kind of started mountain biking like COVID rider. I hate considering myself a COVID rider because Brandon said,
sorry, bud.
It had nothing to do with COVID. He's like, you should try mountain biking, and it just
happened.
And then COVID.
It just happened around COVID.
But
yeah.
I think you and I started riding about the same time. Like, how did you pivot into podcasting? Just curious.
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely COVID was the big one. Used to surf a lot with my son, and then COVID hit, and the weirdest thing is they closed the beaches. So you couldn't even be outside and go into the water. If you were lucky to get in the water, you couldn't get out until like the lifeguards were gone. Otherwise, they were
Wait till they're
tickets.
gone.
Yeah. Getting kind of cold and sharky. I'd like to come in now.
Yeah.
But yeah, my son, it was a lot of the stuff was his idea, and I wanted to just do things with him. So the mountain biking was his idea. He said we should go get mountain bikes because there's a ton of mountain biking here in Murrieta. And then, you should start a YouTube channel, Dad, and learn how to edit and do all this good stuff. I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'd always, whenever we cruise around to some of these like places and you see big homes on the bluffs overlooking the ocean, I'd always tell him, like, I wonder what it would be like to reach out and talk to those people and see what their story is. And so he was like, you should start a podcast. So I'm like, okay. All this stuff was on a whim.
So
like,
let me get this right. Your son is basically coming up with all of your ideas for this.
Totally.
It's pretty great.
So
Exactly.
Let me speak to your manager.
Yeah. Here he is, right here.
Let me speak to the director of this whole operation.
That's pretty funny.
No, that's awesome, man. That's so crazy. And I totally can remember that because I was in Pacific Beach at that same time, and we lived right across the street from not the actual ocean, but the bay, and literally right across the street, and they locked everything up. Like, you couldn't even walk over there. And you're just like, there's nothing to do. Everything's closed, and it's like you're on the beach, quarter of a mile from the actual ocean beach, right across the street from the bay. You came and visited. You saw how close we were, and it's like, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and that's so gnarly because now they figured out that being outside was great.
Yeah.
And so
that fresh air was helpful for us.
Yes. Right. And being active and trying to stay fit. And I think that we got lucky with the mountain biking, becoming a COVID rider, because I had no idea how cool this sport was. And like, I grew up skateboarding. Like, I know you guys, we all have a skateboard background, but that feeling of rolling around on a skateboard as a kid, and becomes your passion. You want to be sponsored. You want to like do all these things as an independent sport and push yourself. And there's really the accountability is on you. Depends on how much hard work you put into skateboarding and your skill to learn tricks and continue to fail and fail and fail until you finally land that kickflip. And then you got to dial it in, right? And then all that kind of went away once I went off to college and then got a job and tried to, climb the ladder and be corporate-y and, start a family and do all these things. And then when COVID hit, it kind of thrusted us over into mountain biking. And I remember the first time I rode down the trail on a mountain bike, and I remember that skateboard Mark Hill, as a kid,
Uh-huh.
come right back in and just like looking out at the trail and seeing the topography and being like, oh, that looks like something you could roll. This looks like something you could jump. Maybe that's a, a feature over there. And all that just came back, and so did the passion. And I was just like, damn, I wish I would have done this so much earlier. This is
Yeah,
so
man.
good.
I
Oh
know it.
man,
Yeah.
you took the words out of my mouth. Even like when he comes for a week and gets me to buy a bike, and I almost threw up because it was a $4,500 bike, and just wrapping my head around. I had no idea mountain bikes were this much, and I'm just like, dude, I'm about to spend $4,500 on a bicycle. This is insane.
And guys, that was literal. He was literally about to throw up. You could see his face getting white. Like it was it was rough.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves. Like,
and then he just leaves.
Then he just leaves me with this bike, and I'm like going, I don't even know where to ride this thing. And so, my girlfriend and I find some green stuff, but like going back to what you were saying, it's like we're riding some flat green stuff, and you see like a tiny little bump or a tree root, and you're like, bonk. Oh, dude, I caught air on that, And,
but that's the thing is it's the skateboarder comes out.
yeah, you start looking for things I could do something on. I don't want to just roll. I want to do a trick,
Yeah, we talk all the time about the parallels of skateboarding and mountain biking, but sorry to cut you off there.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally can relate. It's so funny that we all kind of have that same vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, it's one of those things that comes from the independent sport. Like team sports are great too, because you learn how to network, you know who's got whatever skill set that's good for the team, and you leverage all of those things, and you learn about those things, and you use them in your life when you grow up, and
absolutely,
especially in the working world. But man, there's something about that independent sport, because no one's sitting over your shoulder when you're trying to learn how to do a kickflip, right? You don't know that it's going to take you 300 times before you finally land it. And then you got to dial it. And then it becomes like a setup trick at some point.
Yep.
And it's just like, nobody's coaching you. Nobody's pushing you. That all has to come up from within inside you. And that, I think that builds a ton of character when you go out in the real world and you try something and you fail. Or, remember, skateboarding wasn't all that popular back then.
Right.
And so you had to be kind of tough to like just look past everybody's insults and just go, man, this is
be the only one in the room that is, feeling the way you're feeling, thinking the things you're thinking, and that's where the outcast kind of comes in.
Yeah.
But it's also like you were talking about the independence. One of the things that I've started to think about more recently is how everybody who enjoys skating or riding or any of these, shred culture activities that we engage in, I feel like there's a portion of artistic expression that you don't do for others. It's like you do it for yourself, because like what you're trying to do is like you see somebody like do a whip and you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to envision myself, my version of that, and what it feels like for me. Because I think that everybody gets clips, everybody films themselves, but I don't think that you're necessarily doing it for the shot. You're doing it so you can have that feeling. You see that person up there doing that, and you're like,
but not only that is you don't want to ask that person how to do it. You just watch it, and you take a snapshot of it,
compartmentalize,
and then you go back and you find your own little private space, and you try to emulate that and figure out how to do it, because you don't want to ask how to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that's from the skateboarding world again, right? When we were kids, you'd see it a lot of times, but they were on VHS tape, right? We'd get the videos, and then we'd pop them into the TV and watch, and then go outside and practice and just like, figure it out. Nobody was there to really coach you. I mean, some kids had that. They had access to that stuff, but not the majority.
Yeah, I think back in the 80s and stuff, you just didn't have that. You didn't have anybody, especially when they had the camcorder with the VHS tape that you popped in there, and we'd go find some bleachers or something to like try to ollie on and grind and stuff. And it's like, you just took that back home and popped it in, and you watch yourself do it, and you go, "Oh, that sucked. I got to do it better."
Yeah, right.
And then go out and do it again.
Yep. But you also didn't have the internet back then, where you had a place where even if you didn't do it well, you'd be like, "Oh, I did a nose slide. I'm gonna share it with the world."
No,
right.
you
didn't
can't
do
that. Whoever your mom would allow in the front room is all the only people that got to see it.
I want Billy to come over and watch my clips.
Yeah.
Right. Or you take the clip VHS and send it off to a potential sponsor and hope you get a response.
Sponsor me tapes.
Yeah.
Sponsor me tapes.
That was the sponsor.
I wonder if people still like see. I would probably gonna take this back. People probably don't see sponsor me tapes the way that they used to be looked at.
No,
like
yeah, right.
There was so much care that you put into making a sponsor me tape. It was like your best stuff.
Well, VHS, you can't screw it up. Yeah, it's like
and the editing.
Yeah, it's like there is no editing.
There is no editing.
You can retake it, but you got to send all those retakes.
If anybody really knows about 2 VHSs, the double stack, and you're cutting them.
Stop record.
That's right. That's right. That was how you did stuff.
Right.
These kids, they just don't know.
Yeah.
We paved the way.
Yes, but that passion still lives on. It's cool to see, like you're at a bike park and you see a kid and you feel that energy. You're like, oh man, that exists. That's the same, that pureness. And then that expression, like you were talking about earlier, everybody has their own style, and it's just like an essence of that person. Because you could pretty much mask somebody up and then send them down the trail, and if you ride with them enough, you could tell whose style that is. You're like, oh yeah, that's Scott, that's Brandon, for sure. I know that.
You recognize the style. Yeah.
And
I think that's that artistic expression. That it's like the style, that how you apply it. It's like a paintbrush, and how a different artist would use the same paintbrush. I mean, everybody can have even the same bike. Everybody can be riding a YT, but it's how they ride that bike that actually defines what's happening.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Like as a kid, I loved watching Christian Hosoi, Steve Caballero. I always loved their style. Eric Dressen, I loved his style. And now in the mountain bike world, it's like I'm looking at Dylan Stark. I love his style. Braden Bringhurst, Christian Pepper, like it's their style, their steez, their essence.
Absolutely.
We're doing the same tricks. Well, I'm trying to do some of the same tricks.
I've always been a fan of riders, both skateboarding and mountain biking, that have like that sketchy vibe.
Oh, a little loose.
Yeah. Where you're just like, I can't believe he pulled that off. That stuff is cool.
It's loose riding, yeah.
In fact, Kyle Strait is not typically like that, but his run on Red Bull Rampage
was loose.
Oh my god!
When he went off the side, when he kind of like went off to the bushes and still rode it out.
Yeah,
like that was
right before that drop.
Yes, right before that drop, and he still pulled that line in.
Yeah.
Like
that was insane.
And I think Carson had a sketchy little run.
He had a sketchy run
cool.
too. Yeah,
but it was cool.
Yeah,
it was like the coolest thing. I liked it.
Yeah, or Chelsea Send It when she Indiana Jones grabbed that rock before the cliff and was just hanging.
Oh yeah,
she did it twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 times she did it.
Did she on the second run?
She grabbed the same one. She
no
did it
way.
She did it the first time and again on the second time.
No way.
And it was like the same grab.
Yeah, because we that night we had Bobby Parker in the studio, and we ended up watching it live in the studio up on the projector.
Oh, sick.
It was pretty cool. But yeah, I remember she did it on that first run, but I didn't know she did it on the second
She did it on
too.
the retry too.
Yeah.
In the same spot.
That's
She
crazy.
She was bummed, and she's so good too.
Yeah,
all of them are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like in practice, on the interviews, she was saying she was stomping through that area, but man, from the POV or from the camera angle, it looked like as you're approaching that drop, my eyes kept going to was it a cameraman? There was somebody standing down there and I felt like
Oh,
your eyes would go
yeah.
right to that person, and that's
Yes.
the line I think she kept taking. I mean, I don't know.
I
It
think
is,
I
though,
think I
that-
know what you're talking about. It was like, I don't know if it was a cameraman or like a flagger, like a radio
Yeah,
person.
somebody
Yeah,
there,
there was
right?
somebody right on the edge, I think. If
And
I
maybe it
remember
was
right.
just messing the perception up. You know, we talk about like not looking at trees so you don't
Yes.
hit them.
Mhm.
It's
You
like,
don't
don't
hit
look at the
them.
tree, don't look at the tree. And
That's
it's like,
me.
Tree.
I know somebody who loves trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
I've hit a couple trees myself. Yeah.
I always go, don't look at that tree. I'm looking at that tree.
Looking at that tree. I'm still looking at it.
Yeah.
And then you hit it.
Right. It makes you wonder. I would love to talk to her and find out if that was something that caught her peripheral without even just subconsciously.
Unintentional.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah,
good
especially if
question.
in the run you're just crushing that in your practice runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh.
I think Hand Cut Hollow Interplanet Janet has that tree that I ran into, and it's
Yes.
because I looked at it.
Yeah.
And to this
Oh.
day, like
You
every
still look
time
at
we
it.
ride that trail, even when we drop in, I start going, don't look at that stupid tree. Even though that jump is like, at the time I ran into that tree, that jump was challenging, and now it's just like not.
It's a chill jump.
Yeah, it's a chill jump now, but I still think about that stupid tree every single time. It's just like embedded. But anyways,
pretty rough.
yeah.
Well, switching gears back to talking about Mark. One of the things that I really do enjoy about your podcast is like your journey of asking those about their journey. Like you've created this channel that's solely about their journey. Is that was that like a conscious decision from the start to make the channel this way?
Yeah, yes, yeah. And it tweaked a little bit. At the beginning it was like all about PRs, and I thought the vision was, how cool would it be to see somebody try to go after some kind of Strava PR? Like sometimes we joke about it going, hey, PR, but sometimes people train for that. Like they wait for the right time. Maybe they lose a little bit of weight. So I was always trying to like capture the essence of whatever that story was.
Wow.
And in the first 2 episodes, I realized there's way more to the story than just that PR. Like everybody has some kind of unique story. And that's where it changed from people moving from the ordinary, moving to the extraordinary, because
Right.
there's something there that's like a blip, a bump that gets them to the next level. And that's kind of what I'm trying to catch.
So it's like it still kind of falls in line with your original vision of the PR as that extraordinary moment, the time when you
Yes.
move from ordinary to extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead it's like focusing in on some moment that is so big for that person's life, and just try to maximize on that so we can all glean what they did.
Sure.
A lot of times people are, God, they're losing tons of weight.
Yep.
A couple guys I interviewed were like over 300 pounds, and the mountain bike saved them. So at that point, it was like, I don't really think we should do the PR story. Like, at what point
it's bigger
did you?
than that.
Yeah, at what point did you realize you were in trouble, and why did you lose all that weight? Oh, it was for family, so you could be around for your baby daughter's wedding when she grows up. Let's get into that stuff. Like, what does it take to do that? Like, what kind of like grit do you need to do that?
Yeah.
How hard was that?
Yeah.
It's
Another person.
I can't imagine how hard that is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then just to catch other people's stories, like North Shore Betty, she's 76 years old, and she did a Patagonia documentary. She was a pioneer, man, for women in sports. And it was just like first started off with windsurfing in Hawaii, one of the only women to go out there on those big waves and jump those boards, and then to fall in love with mountain biking in the North Shore, and then ended up doing a video with Remy, and it's just like, man, 76 and she's still sending it.
Yeah.
And
I love
and the
those
essence
stories.
of, yeah, and her essence was like, the world is a playground. Like, why not? What else would I be doing? It's just such a cool thought process.
Yeah.
No, I love stumbling across people like that, even from Cab to somebody like that, to like show proof that, nothing's over. You can keep doing stuff. And, a lot of, even after my injury, some people were just like, some of my friends back home that aren't into that stuff but follow the things I do, and probably going, he's going to kill himself. Watch. I know he is, and then it's like, I rupture my Achilles, and then it's like, see, I told you, fool, you can't be doing that stuff. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not done yet. I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to be back on the bike, because there's other people that prove to you that you can still do this stuff.
Yeah. And it's cool that you mentioned Cab, because he is, for the folks that don't know, like we all know Cab. Luckily, I don't know how this happened in life, but we're friends with him. We're all friends with him. We were all hanging out in Bentonville.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
It's
and
crazy.
it's funny too, because like you said, I don't know how many people know Cab. I was just thinking about it this whole time. We've just been referring to him as Cab, and most of the people who are watching this show, like, they know what that means. Like, they know what Cab means.
Cab means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who don't, Steve Caballero. But look him up.
Legendary skateboarder.
Yes, Bones Brigade back in the day with Tony Hawk, Mike McGill. Man, oh God, yeah. So Steve is Cab is one of those guys that he doesn't like to be put in a box, right? So you can't tell him anything negative. He's got his mind made up to do something, and I mean, he is living proof you can do way more than you think you can. Obviously, legend in pro skateboarding. He's a musician, successful band with, like, what else? Artwork.
Yeah.
He's doing a ton of art. I mean,
Motocross.
he can play the piano. Yeah, motocross, right? So, he even has a salad out there called the Cab salad. He had
hilarious.
A fresh pressed juice drink called it was made out of dragon fruit, so it was like called the Cab Dragon or something, full of like antioxidants and just all this nourishment. Like the dude
it's great.
Just goes, man.
It's great, man. I mean,
awesome, right?
it's proof that he's just like he didn't stop creating after slowing down in his pro skateboarding career. He's just like it just did it in a different light, different way. I don't know.
Expression, you're right. It's part of that expression again. And then I was talking to him the other day. He was in Texas for Thrasher magazine, and he's like, I'm flying back.
He was, I think he was down for the No Comply. There was in Austin, No Comply skate shop. They had like a celebration with Thrasher.
Oh, okay.
I think that was it. I think that was it. And I mean, I remember riding with him a day after his band Urethane played. He got home. He must have got home at like 3 a.m, and he still made the 7 a.m. call for mountain biking. And he came in and picked me up.
I think he did the same thing with our podcast.
Yeah,
like he was like,
and he jetted, went to Vegas, and played that same
night,
day. The tornado
That's
night.
right.
The night of the tornado. Man, that honestly, this is a perfect segue into Bikefest and talking about just our time at Bikefest.
That was interesting.
So fun.
And before I get into it, I do realize that we forgot to talk about these cool spy glasses that we have here. So so Mark actually graced us with these, and we've just been holding on to them since Bikefest. So we really need to give these out, and what's going to happen is in the chat, this is streaming on tomorrow, Halloween. We'll be in the chat, and the most active people in the chat, 3 lucky people in the chat, are going to get these. I'll reach out to you in the chat. We'll coordinate how to get together. You hit me up, hit up Gnarkansas on Instagram. We'll hit it up. So as the chat's going, most active people, some people probably already have a head start.
That's sick.
Octodad, dude, if I might have to send a pair of these to New Zealand. I just now thought about that. Like, oh dang, this is gonna be expensive.
Two lucky local people.
Yeah, local.
Marty, we know you'll be there. But we got a couple of different colorways. I think this is the yellow and red.
Yeah, it's like looks like almost like an
neon
oil
yellow.
sheen.
Yeah. This one was dope. There's some other colorways.
Those are the Monoliths by
Monoliths.
Spy.
That's right. Yeah. Let's see. This is another colorway. We might as well give them a plug since they hooked it up.
Yeah. So
give them a little screen time.
Spy lenses. Those lenses, they figured out with technology how to cut out the bad blue wave light. Like we always hear about blue wave light being bad.
Oh, I know all about it, dude.
Right? Yeah. So there's long and there's short, and the long is the lovely. I always remember that long because short stands for sure, dude. Short stands for the other. Yeah. So those lenses actually cut out short wave blue light, which is pretty cool.
And they come in this like nice little bag here. Keeps it protected. Yeah, so there's two blues and then one yellow and active chatters. If you call them out, it's yours. You gotta. Wow. That's how this is working.
That's cool.
Top of the line.
Those survived tornadoes.
They did actually survive the tornado because they were in the studio, the remote studio trailer at the top of Kohler.
That's crazy. Unscathed.
It was bad, man. I mean, there was the time when it did hit, and it was like honestly we were all up at the same time at night. And we're all like chatting with each other, texting like what's going on. And I was just thinking, should I go? Should I just go to where the tornado? And I was like, that's a dumb idea. Yeah. I should not do that.
A good thing you didn't, because it ended up being pretty gnarly.
Well, funny enough, Blake Burlingame did, but he wouldn't go like at it. He like went like right after it hit to check the trailer. Mm-hmm. And it was just like destruction everywhere.
But the
trailer is just sitting there
pristine.
It's unreal how that trailer just.
We were real lucky.
Got through it all.
Real lucky.
Totally.
But it was definitely interesting because Mark stayed at my house and man, we were all passed out. And I think Leanna, my girlfriend, was the only one that was up all night watching the YouTube Weather Channel. Like, she was the tornado chaser.
Yes, like, thank goodness she was.
And when she said it's time to get in the bunker, like I had no choice. And she's like, "You need to go get Mark."
He's sleeping.
I'm pounding on the door, Mark, and you're like, "What's going on, man?" And I'm like, "Gotta get in the bunker, man."
Yep. I was like, all right, here we go.
And you gotta be thinking, Mark, gotta be thinking like, I come to Arkansas one time. There's a tornado. One time.
Yeah, I kind of was thinking. I know Leanne's on top of it, so I'm like, okay, if she says it's on,
it's time. Then it's time.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize like how long it would take. I just thought maybe that it would blow by and then we'd figure it out. But man, it was like we were listening to it as it was hitting all the towns on the way over. Mm-hmm. That was like that one guy was super scary.
Dude, and what was gnarly is so the tornado path was literally, and I hope that there wasn't anything wrong. It went from the where the site, the Bikefest site was, like towards my house. Like, so it was like a direct line, and I live probably like I'm like an hour 15 away from there. It was like a line from the site to my house. And I was like, I really hope God's not trying to tell me something.
Well, we didn't even really get hit with the tornado. We got hit with the headwinds. Like the actual tornado went through downtown Rogers, and we're kind of just a little bit outside. But you know, in the bunker we have, you can see through the handle holes, and you know, the lights started flickering out, and it was pretty loud. Would you say so? That's like the first time I've ever experienced it myself too.
Yeah, you guys are both some Californians.
But I've lived here for 8 years.
Yeah, true.
And I've never experienced one. However, you know, sirens and stuff. Yeah, but this is the first time I've ever experienced, and it sounded pretty loud. And I just looked through the holes of the handles, and my garage door was getting sucked in like
it
3 feet,
flexing,
and then straightening back out. And I looked at Leanna and I said, "Man, I think our garage door is going to get ripped off." And it didn't, but man,
I thought it was too. Mm-hmm. I was like, when I saw that flex, it's like where the chains would go through the hole and like kind of like chain up that door. I was looking through that hole too on the other side, and I was like, dude, that garage door it's coming in or it's gonna get sucked out. One of the two is gonna happen because it was moving a lot.
Oh man, it was wild. And then everything just went silent. And
Yes.
we're in the dark and it's silent. You know, we had lights in the bunker and stuff, but everything was looking out those
little holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just dark and it's quiet.
Right.
and we were so cramped, and I was like, I can't take it anymore. I got to stand up. So I like opened the door to just at least stand up, like half my body's out of it. You know, and of course, Leanna's like, "What are you doing, bro?
We're
like,
gonna die."
I'm like, I'm gonna die if I sit in curled up in a ball. Like, I stood up, and that's when we went out and started to like look around with flashlights. But
Yeah.
that was you know, in retrospect, it was pretty exciting. I think.
Yeah.
An exciting experience.
It was. I mean, never been through one of those before. Like, that was all of our first times. Like three Californians sitting in this bunker, going, "Ooh, what's going on?" And then
Brett was in his the Sprinter van.
He was in a hotel.
Was he not?
He made a hotel.
He made it in a hotel.
He made it in a hotel that night.
I could have swore he sent us a video of him in the van, and it's like shaking.
No, it was out the window.
That was out the window of the
his
place.
hotel room.
That's kind of worse.
That car in front of his window like picked up for a second, and that's when he went to the bathtub.
Honestly, that's probably what I'm thinking is seeing the rocking motion. I probably just associated him with like, "Are you in your van, dude?" Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that sounds a lot safer.
No, our friend Heather Munive was in her van.
Oh, okay.
She was in her van.
There was somebody in a van. I knew it.
Yeah. And then she
wild.
Yeah, then luckily she was able to drive it towards, I think, where Jared and Madison Pitts were staying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
And then when it was clear, she got out of her van and I think ran into the house. But
nice.
For a moment there, she was in it.
I mean, and you really do want to find like a stable place to be in. I mean, I don't think there was. There were a couple of vehicles that were flipped over. I think there were some trailers that were flipped over in the Bikefest grounds, like inside of the grounds. Some trailers were flipped over, so I mean it had the potential to flip something. So
I think Tippy had like a live feed on Instagram or something.
I think so.
And I was actually kind of worried for those guys because they were like,
they were in the path.
I don't think they realized what they were.
They were like, their camera
Dylan
shot.
Stark and all them.
Yeah.
They were like hanging out, like, dude.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
I was like,
hey,
going, guys,
bros.
like, I don't think you realize, like, you could die here.
This is a for real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting worried
funny.
too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
But but that I don't want to personify the entire Bikefest with just the tornado, because we actually had a bunch of fun.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
But aside from that,
and that was a freak thing. I mean, usually,
it really was. We haven't had one since.
Yeah, and tornadoes are very rare at the end of May.
Yeah.
On top of that, and just the weather in general for the last year has been just totally wacko.
Yeah, they have said that the what they refer to as Tornado Alley is starting to shift. Just like the weather patterns shift across the decades. I think that it is starting to shift a little bit towards Arkansas. However, the Ozarks are kind of they naturally break up tornadoes. Like, that's been the whole thing for a long time, is when the tornadoes start to like get into the Ozarks, the hills start to break up because it can't lock onto anything.
Yeah, it just pops them back up.
Oh wow. Wow.
So, I mean, I ain't moving. But I know Leanna was talking about moving.
Jokingly.
Yeah. I'm out of here.
Yeah. She don't like.
She was
stuff.
super prepared though, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was really impressed.
Oh yeah.
That's her. Though.
She's a prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had the wind-up radio. We had water. We pretty much could have just chilled in there for a long time. She had everything
if it
ready
wasn't
to go.
for space.
Yeah.
The funny thing is the one we got was bigger than that, and when they installed it and everything and left, I went and checked it out, and I'm like, which one did you order? Because this is not the size that you said you ordered. And then she's checked it out, and she's like, this is not what I ordered. And they're like, oh, we put the wrong one in. There's not much we can do now. We'll give you this discount. And we're just like, oh, well, I mean, because they literally come in there with a backhoe and just dig a hole in your garage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a little bigger. Not a lot bigger, but a little bigger. But
maybe enough to like kind of sit up normally.
I think it was supposed to be like maybe 2 feet wider and about 4 feet longer.
Okay.
So it would have been a little bit better, but still.
Yeah, I would like something at my place, you know.
But it serves its purpose.
Yeah, for the purpose.
I mean, it serves its purpose. We were completely safe. Like
totally.
I was 100% certain of that.
Yeah, that's cool. Man. Yeah, to have that certainty.
I love when we lost electricity. Leanna had she had LEDs in there. Like boop, we had light. I was like, "Are you thirsty?"
Immediately.
Yes, immediately. And she had like a wind-up radio. Like, let's find out what's going on out there. I'm like, whoa.
She's been waiting for this moment, you know, using all this stuff.
The only bad part is
that's great.
Little critters get in there like later.
Right.
Months later, we cleaned it all out and stuff, and there was like 2 little dead mice in there and stuff, and it's like, so we put these little nets over the holes now. We tape these nets so they can't get in there and stuff, but
so they can't fall in.
Well, now they just fall into the net and die there.
No, like right on the surface is the handle holes, and we just taped net over it so they couldn't even get in it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happened. Because she had the food and the dog food and stuff in there. They went in there and they'd fall in, and they can't get out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, makes sense. That's right. Makes sense. Man. So, but it was a kind of an exciting way to somewhat top off a really exciting and fun Bentonville experience.
I think so. I think we had a good time, and just afterwards too, we all came together, had breakfast, and just kind of all bonded with Steve and Johnny, and everybody. So it was fun.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. All of us got back together. I remember sitting outside at that breakfast place. It was one of the only places they had electricity, right?
Oh, where'd you guys? You went to Buttery Biscuit
in Springdale. So once you get to Springdale and Fayetteville, they weren't affected. So we're like back to the normal area to where we can eat and stuff.
And we had the crew back together. Marvin came out. Marvin was there.
Marvin, Marvin. Shout out to Marvin.
Shout out to Marvin.
Marvin was cool.
Kim and her dad had already hit the road. You know, Kim was like, not necessary for us to be here and utilize resources when we can allocate those elsewhere for other people. So we're going to hit the road. Yeah. But I did love how that morning, man, what did she try? Like 4 different routes to get to the studio?
And she got there. She was the first.
She got there.
Both of them, they were the first people to actually be at the site. And I couldn't get in the way that I went, chainsawing my way through, just trying to get to basically access to the Kohler parking lot. But I like walked up and I was like, Kim, you're here. That's great.
Yeah, it was so great. Yeah. She was texting Scott and I. She's like, hey, just so to let you know, the studio looks like it's all intact and good.
Yeah, it was cool to get that it was her that got the first site. And and the podcast, we had gotten so much done in the studio as it was. It was kind of nice to know that we did what we needed to do in the studio.
Yes.
We
knocked everything out.
We accomplished the task.
Timing was perfect.
Yeah.
And then thanks to you and Brett for just like helping me, because I mean, when we had no light, so and we're like shining our light out of the sliding glass door, and all you see is tree, like just boom right on the glass.
In the brand new pool.
Yeah,
the brand new pool.
Right.
Oh man.
And we hacked that up. I just finished all that. Just to let you know, like maybe in August, I finally
just recently.
It took forever, but I wasn't doing it every day, but just whenever I had time. But I finally got all that stuff cleaned up, and because the trees were just annihilated. That
was fun. Once we got a hold of a chainsaw, it was just like Brett had the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And I was like, we like Rochambeau'd and he won. I'm like, God damn it.
I wanted a chainsaw.
My turn. Yeah. Brett's going nuts. He was.
But that actually led up to the thumbnail for Brett's episode because we had the chainsaw in the air.
Chainsaw.
That was honestly great. It was.
I grabbed the camera. I'm like, Brett, let me do that again.
Perfect opportunity. Yeah.
That was so funny.
But and also there was like a chainsaw shortage at that time because everybody was buying up chainsaws.
I got like one of the last ones. There was only like 2 left.
But it's because like you ordered it online, I think.
I did, but I ordered
pickup.
and I was like
pickup,
half-ass reading, and it was Springfield, Missouri, and I just saw Spring.
Oh, that's right.
So we go up to the Springdale Lowe's, and they're like, we don't have anything for you. And I'm like, I got the order confirmation number. And she's like,
sir,
that's Springfield, Missouri. And I was like, okay, cancel that.
Cancel that.
Damn. So I got lucky. They had a couple left, and that was exciting.
That was really good, man. I loved doing the whole chainsaw. He cut something, then you and I would just rip the branches and like we'd just toss it
down the hill.
And then those guys came in to take it all out. I'm like, oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't have tossed it down the hill.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple things I shouldn't have done, but we were just trying to clear out that pool. She was so bummed about it because it was that Saturday that we got clearance to be able to get into it.
Yeah.
And so she left the Bikefest and went swimming.
Oh, yeah.
And we stayed and didn't come home till that night. And so I didn't even get a chance to get in it or anything.
Crazy. But, so during Bikefest, you rode a lot. Trails that stood out for you?
Oh man, there's so many trails that stood out. I loved before Bikefest ride when we all did Air Raid and Mad Hatter. That was good. The Jesse's Last Stand session that we had when Eric Riding Dirty busted out the camera and was getting all the shots, and we just kept hitting it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then Steve and Maggie were out there with us, and just the whole squad. The whole energy vibe was so high. I think we ended up riding all the way until dark, didn't we?
Just about.
Really?
Yeah, I think we did, because we had ridden a lot of stuff before that, because I think we were at the castle, and
yes, that's where we met Marvin.
Yeah, and I think who was there? The female rider that's really good, Amanda
Hamilton.
Oh yeah, Amanda Hamilton.
Yeah.
She was there, and so I think we all like rode that for a while. So we were all over the place that whole day, and we ended up at Jesse's Last Stand, and man, we must have did a dozen laps on that at least.
It's like you already had like the vibe so high, and then you just like go hard at the end. That's great.
Like the conclusion of the day was like the utmost peak time of the day. I mean, it just, the stoke was at its peak when we hit that. That was so fun.
That's great.
That is so fun. One of my favorites too, because right at the end, you got that jump right there at the end as other people are finished and they're starting to climb back up or walk or stop and watch.
Yeah,
it's just like
the ending point. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's such a good
everybody
one.
Do their finish. Yeah, it's so cool.
It went from regular jumps to it went from regular jumps to whips, and then one-handers, and then no-handers, and one-footers. We were just like, everyone just kept stepping up. It was
that trail is a really good trainer trail. Like it puts you where you need to be pretty safely, and you know, that last jump kind of being a little bit of like a step up landing. Like the landing is pretty high up and not very steep, so you there's a bit of safety, a real confident feeling at the end, you know. And then even the bridge jump is pretty low and chill, but you really jump. Fast. It's fast,
bridge jumps,
you know.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I try to go as fast as I can. Like when you start to approach that bridge, it's like I am going as I want to get like the most speed you could possibly get, and because you just fly over it. And then you just rail that berm. It's so fun. That trail is so fun.
That is so fun. Talk about other trails that are fun. Is it Family Flow?
At Kohler.
At Kohler.
Yeah.
God.
At the top.
Trail.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I ran that one a ton. Kim, myself, Amanda Hamilton, Kim's dad, we were just like...
Session it. Yeah.
It's
so
similar
fun.
to Jesse's Last Stand too, and in fact, it's maybe a little longer and have a little more like rollers and little doubles where you can play around on and try to like clear certain ones.
Well, one thing I was gonna say is that it's different now since you guys have been here, because after the tornado, there's been a ton of trail work here, and it got a refresh, and the refresh for that is just like, it's just smoother. I don't know. It's the same, but it's smooth.
It's the same, but they like resurface
it's smoother.
well,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you can imagine a smooth trail being smoother.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. That's like that's Northwest Arkansas.
And even like so you left like pretty much right after. So like the next 6 to 8 weeks was like just everybody coming together and just cleaning up all the different things, and a lot of it's just we cleaned it up. Now you can ride it, but it was still just destroyed. So it
was more clearing and not so much like trail maintenance, because a lot of the stuff that was really damaged was more about like drainage, where rains have taken something out, or trees uprooted, and when that tree uprooted, it pulled the trail with it.
Wow.
Or just parts of it. So just a lot of things, and then Steve, the spokesman, came back out not too long ago, and I met up with him, and we just went all around Slaughter Pen, and he was just blown away about how he was loving it, but just blown away how different the trails are now. Like just some trails that he rode that were just in the forest,
the canopy,
canopy feeling,
the canopy's
to where
gone.
It's just completely exposed with sunlight.
Wow.
It's like gone. So you're gonna have like
there's a shell shock moment.
Yeah,
that
you're
happens.
just gonna be whoa, because so many things are different.
Where'd all the trees go?
Well, and like I think about that when I'd go ride San Diego trails with you guys, like those trails are open. Like
there's no shade.
It's just open, and like here it's like everything was shaded. So a lot of trails like I think of Barn Burner.
That one's really bad.
It's like open now.
Yeah.
Like and it used to be like full canopy like in any of the other trails. But now it's just like kind of you see sky now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be right at home.
Yeah, right. You'll be right at home.
Like,
exactly.
Hey, this is great. This is great. It's a little hot, but it's great.
So that was a question that I had for you was, you've been here, was it 2 times now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Riding trails, both places. Like, what's your take on Northwest Arkansas? How other people see Northwest Arkansas versus somebody that's been here a couple times and ridden it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, God, well, first, I think the initial like shock of how cool that place is, it's still there. The second time you go, you're like, oh, it's just like every time you go somewhere and you ride something fun, like when you go back to Northwest Arkansas, it is still that fun. And the energy level is high. I think the coolest difference that I noticed was just being more familiar with the trails. So letting yourself open up a little more, go a little faster, push a little harder in the corners, pull maybe a little bit more on the lips, because you're familiar with what's on the other side, and that brings a level of comfort and the fun together, which was really cool. But yeah, the vibe there is still so high. Like the second time you go, it's just from beginning to end. It really is like a Disneyland. For the folks who haven't been there yet, take it. I mean, this really feels like Disneyland on a bike. It is.
It feels like you're going from one ride to the next ride. You're like, oh, let's ride the tidal wave. Let's ride, this one, and we're gonna ride over there. And
rides. You're saying like a tour ride,
like
a tourist.
You're gonna ride the other roller coaster ride. Let's go over to that one,
totally.
And you get in line and wait, and stuff, and it's just fun. And they're short, and the climbing's not. We don't have a whole lot of elevation, but they just make it unbelievably fun.
So fun. And I gotta say, the second time going there was cool because the first time I was on the Capra, the YT Capra, the second time I was there, I actually flew my decoy out. I left the battery at home, but now that there's a mill there, I was able to fly out just the bike without the battery. I went to the mill, picked up a battery, plugged it in, and off I went. So
and shout out to the mill for that. For anybody else that rides YT and comes to Northwest Arkansas, I mean, there's a mill here for you to ship your bike. You can get your bike. I think you can even ship your bike to the mill, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they like.
You probably could.
Yeah.
I do know that they demo bikes like
do demo
crazy
bikes
there as well. So even if you don't have a bike, just go to the mill and for free demo whatever bike. Owen, who was riding with us, another one of the riders who we met. Yeah, he was cool. I think he demoed a bike every single day. He was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
he lost his bike in flight.
Oh, that's right.
He ended up finding it eventually,
happened.
but he lost it for 2 days. And YT stepped up and just said, try a bike until you get your bike. So he had a bike all day for 2 days straight.
And that's basically what I was meaning is like the hospitality for YT and YT owners is like definitely there. Like in non-YT owners too. I want to make that very clear because I don't think Owen didn't have.
He had a Trek.
It was a Trek. Yeah. So I mean, like
So trade that puppy in.
Get you a white.
Yeah. Get you one of these.
You don't want that Trek. They wouldn't do that for you. Come on.
I could actually say they would not do that for you. They would. No, I don't think so.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you. You can buy this one if you'd like.
So allegedly. I'm sure they're cool.
I'm sure they're cool. Sure but shout out YT.
YT's got it dialed. For sure.
They definitely they hooked it up for many people and very often and continue to. We're talking about there's the Halloween group ride on Saturday, which actually this is going to air, and Saturday will be the group ride. So if you're in Northwest Arkansas and are riding Saturday, head to the YT Mill
10:30.
at 10:30.
10:30. We're gonna hang out
and then
go on a ride. Not me though. And
not
I'm gonna
Scott,
just hang out with the other fellas there, and I'll be there waiting for you guys to come back. And I think we're gonna have some shenanigans going on afterwards, courtesy of Bobby Parker.
Yeah, Bobby Parker.
Bobby Parker's leading it?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Sweet. Yeah, I was thinking it was either him or Justice was taking out the group. Yeah,
and Justice does a lot of group rides as well. That's actually, I was on Justice's group ride whenever I injured myself. Broke a rib, went to the hospital. Super cool. So that was neat. But... yeah.
And it's always nothing. It's always on something that's not cool.
I was literally rounding a berm. I was coming out of a berm and just like and
pay attention to the little things. Don't overlook the little things because that's what.
You fell going
doing nothing. I popped my Achilles heel like literally doing nothing.
It was like going down a set of stairs, like if you were gonna roll your mountain bike down a 5-stair or something. Equivalent height, not very much,
my foot was slipping off, so I tried to do like a skateboard foot dab push.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I really can't tell you what happened. All of a sudden, I just heard a pop, and I was like, really? I'm not even doing anything.
Isn't that what happened with your knee, too? Like you had put your leg down?
My back wheel kind of spun out, and I went to go down, and the rock gave out, and I fell like 5 feet.
It's always stupid. It's always stupid stuff. You never, because we were talking about this. Like you never fall doing the dangerous thing that people see you doing, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna die doing that."
And I'm like, "That's the stuff I pull off.
That's the stuff I land."
But when on my way to that,
I break my ankle.
Walking off the curb.
When I was walking to that jump, that's where it happened.
Dude, I'm telling you, my dad broke his knee. It like literally snapped his knee walking to the microwave to get something out of the microwave.
Yeah, so you never know, man. You just.
I mean, why is that though? Is it because we're just not thinking when things are simple and easy, right? We're just kind of autopilot.
That's it. No, it is. It is. It's when your guard is down. So like when
overlooking the stuff.
Well, okay, so I'll analyze mine real quick. When I was on Medieval, we were in a group ride. We're all jumping jumps, getting clips and everything. And I'm on Medieval. I've ridden Medieval a million times. It's a little loose this day, right? Like a little loose. I'll say it's a lot of loose. And I'm coming out of this berm. We're in a big train of
like
people.
12 of us all.
Yeah. So I'm just in the flow, right? And I come out of the berm, and I can honestly say I was just loose. I was just light. I was just kind of like not gripping my bike, holding on, and
this is
hit a rock, and my bike just went sideways. I'm going this way, and it just does a 90, and I go forward, it goes down, and I was just hanging, you know. And a point where I'm just like, I've done this trail a million times. What's the big deal here?
Yeah.
And then Scott, so like when you fell, it was out of it was at Passion Play. The trail is called Hallelujah, and you were going during Arkansas Enduro. Mm-hmm. You're going out of Hallelujah and about to climb for Deliverance, and you were thinking about Deliverance
on the way, because Deliverance is gnarly, and that's the trail that was making me nervous, even when we pre-rode it, you know. So I was replaying the game plan of that trail because they have alternate lines, and I was like, I'm just going to be faster in the alternate line, the easier one. If I try to navigate through this hard part, I'm going to risk not being able to pull it off and crash. B, I'm going to lose a lot of time. I'm just going to play the safe route. So I'm like playing it over in my mind, and as I'm going through this and climbing, going through that and climbing, and I was like, pop, what the heck happened? Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
And, man.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was devastated, because once it clicked in your head, like 10 seconds later, that I ruptured my Achilles heel, I just went, I'm not riding for a long time.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And
that's nuts.
That's was the bummy part was.
Yeah.
But you know, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
I could have made it to Deliverance, and you know, maybe that was the sign.
Section.
Maybe there was something worse that was gonna happen. So God was on my side and said, "Hey, buddy, take this and live with it, because it was going to be worse." I don't know.
take this fix-it ticket instead.
Yeah.
Here's
it's like
a fix-it ticket, but you were.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, like you get pulled over by a cop for all this like bad things, and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to give you a ticket because you were doing something very wrong, and you need some kind of consequence.
Yeah, exactly.
So take this consequence.
Right. So maybe that was it.
Because this is light.
I'm totally unfamiliar with that trail system, and I was a little nervous. I'll be honest. It's pretty gnarly. It's a little different than Bentonville and stuff.
Yeah, and we need to take you out to Eureka. Because that's one thing that hasn't happened yet, is he hasn't been to.
No, and you're gonna die, dude.
Dude.
So
it's gonna be good.
It's gnar, so dude. And like so like my first ride back out of my injury, we did a well, I guess this is probably my second ride. It was my first real ride. We had a word of mouth hang at Leatherwood, and it's like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna go to like our gnarliest gravity trails for my like inaugural like ride with the boys back and whatever, and it's just so gnar, but so capable. Like it's
all doable. They're longer trails, and the trails have a little bit of everything. So they have jumps, they have chunk, tech,
speed,
flow, rollers. It's just got a little bit of everything. And I think when you guys come next time and you come a little early, we'll just take that whole day, like the day we did Mad Hatter. Maybe we'll just take that whole day.
Yeah,
we'll
very similar to like that day. Yeah,
we'll just go up there in the morning, and it has a shuttle, and it's still e-bike, like still an e-bike thing.
Wait, is that the shuttle where Donut plays the segment podcast on it?
Oh yeah, the gravity feed.
Yeah. Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, totally
sick.
Yeah, so we'll go up there. We'll get a whole crew, and we'll have a blast, dude. We'll have a blast.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
And that's where we had that our last word of mouth ride.
Yeah, we had our last ride there. It was a big turnout.
Yeah,
tons of people came. We had a good time.
Yeah, but we would love to get you there.
That would be fun.
And Brett and maybe Eric if we get everybody together.
I mean, it's there's just so much more to see here. So it's like, I know everybody comes here for Slaughter Pen Kohler, but if you've been twice already, it's like, save that for the Bikefest stuff, you know? Like, and we'll go do like some other stuff that locals ride, you know?
Sweet. I'm down.
And then there's also Passion Play, because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Is Passion Play.
It's same town.
But it's it's a little bit more like single track, mix. It's got still has heavy gnar, chunk. There's some speedy stuff, and then there's a couple of big jump lines, but it's just not as maintained as Leatherwood is. Leatherwood's a lot more maintained, I feel like.
It's the Greer for Los Penasquitos.
There we go.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No.
You're like slaughter pinning
totally
it up.
makes sense.
You got PQ down or Black Mountain down. It's like, now we're going to Greer or Ted Williams.
Yeah, I
know
gotcha.
what I mean? It's like, now we're going to like the gnarly stuff.
Now we're going to work.
Yeah. Now it's gonna be. Hey, we were talking about crashing earlier. I gotta share one. I got hurt the other day.
Oh
no.
And but I want you guys to guess what got hurt. So
goodness.
I was going to pick. This is gnarly. And it's always where you don't expect it, right?
There we go.
I got the bike. It was in the afternoon. I had to pick up the youngest one from school. So school pickup.
Okay.
So I'm riding the bike down to his school, and I'm on the YT decoy, and it's a beautiful day. I'm like, this is great. I'm in my work clothes. I'm in pants. I pull up to the school, and there's this like big line of cars. You know how at school pickups, if you guys have, it's just a big line there, and the kids haven't gotten out yet, so everyone's just kind of parked there, right? Big spectator opportunity. I roll up and I cross the last intersection, and I go to pedal, and my pant leg won't move. And I look down, and the tooth of my chain ring had grabbed my pant leg and woven it into the chain.
Oh, no.
Dang, what an old school move right there.
I already know the predicament you're in.
And all the parents are watching.
Yeah.
This is great.
But you can't put your foot down, right?
But it won't come down. It's locked on the pedal.
Okay.
But it's right foot. So I'm coasting across that last intersection, and I make it on the school property, and I'm looking down. I'm like trying to get my leg out, and I pedal a little bit more, and it gets a little tighter. I'm just like, oh man, this is like getting worse.
Because you're figuring out how to make this cool in front of everybody, and then you just keep making it worse.
It's just slowly getting worse, and it gets tighter. And I'm like, well, maybe if I rotate backwards, I can get my leg out. So on the e-bike, it doesn't do that, right? It's like replay. So I'm like trying to go backwards, and now when I went backwards, the part of my pant leg
it's going
that was
further away
in the tooth. Yeah, the actual fabric then now wrapped around the crank. So now I'm in the tooth, and part of my pants are in the crank, and now about a quarter of my butt cheek is sticking out.
This is great.
Because it's
at
pulling
school.
the pants down at school.
All the parents watching. This is
I'm
great.
going about 2 miles an hour, and I'm on campus, and I come to a stop, and I stop to the left, get my left leg out, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, this is great. And I'm trying to pull my pant up, and it's nothing.
There's no fabric. Yeah.
Nothing's moving.
Oh, this is
and I'm
great.
trying to figure it out. And the more I look over to figure it out, the bike starts to creep a little to the right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, if I can just look and see a little more. Slow motion tip over. Bam! Right on my right side.
Slow-mo tip.
Slow-mo tip. Now I'm on my back. And the bike is still locked to my foot. Yep, turtle mode.
Yeah.
And I've got the bike above me, and I'm trying to like move my legs, and it's getting tighter, and it's pulling my pants even more.
This is great.
And I'm like, great. Now I'm on my back. My butt's totally fixed.
I sure hope someone's filming this from their car, just like this one. Like,
are you in panic?
You gotta watch this.
Are you in panic mode by this time? Like, I don't know how. I'm not gonna get out of this.
Yeah, I felt like I was in some kind of Brazilian jiu-jitsu move, and I'm like, I can't
by your
get
bike.
out.
Your bike's beating
by my
you.
bike. Yep. And I'm moving it, and finally I hear this voice, and it's his mom. And she's like, "Hi, excuse me. Do you need some help?"
You're like, "Oh my god,
help would be great. Like, where are you coming from? Are you
you're looking around?
Tell me you're not walking up from my butt side.
Yeah, right.
Please tell me
you
you're
don't
walking
see my crack. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then as she's walking up, you're like, I actually don't know how you can help me.
I didn't. She's like, try moving your foot this way. So I took my foot off the pedal, and the tension that was on the pants moved my foot down in between the chain ring and the chain. So now I'm like stuck in the chain.
Jeez.
Oh no.
Of it.
This is wild.
So she grabs her key out and she starts sawing at my pant leg.
Oh no.
Oh no.
To try to
Get it out.
get me out. Yeah, I'm like, that's fine. Like whatever we need to do.
Paramedic style.
Yeah, and then I heard another voice like, "You guys need some help." I'm like, "Oh, please,
no.
God, no!"
The whole
another mom.
PTA conference is coming up to help you.
And then the next thing you know, people's got their phones out.
And meanwhile, where I fell was in the middle of the circle of cars because there's like an island of grass right here in the middle, so that's where I was able to fall. So every single vehicle has a great view of me, and there's no kids out yet, so I'm the only thing happening. Amongst all these people. The second mom grabs me and she's like, well, if you actually move your leg around this way, which I can't do anything, she's like, we can get you out. So that entailed her grabbing me by my back and like floating me around.
This is great. I can't even believe this is.
Nobody recorded this. Like,
no. I'm actually gonna say I'm
sure
certain somebody recorded this.
Yeah, somebody had to record it.
Bro, you're TikTok famous and you just don't know it.
I just don't even know it.
I'm gonna start looking at my TikTok. I'm gonna find it.
Bike fails.
Bike fails, man. And then when I finally like moved one more, she like floated me around one more time around the bike like a baby, like just like holding me around the bike. Is great. My pant comes out, boom, and luckily my leg was there. I was able to pull my pant all the way up to where it's supposed to be. And then I had to like fold them 80 style, like, you know, where you like, because it was like ripped and fully stretched out.
Oh yeah, you got to do the old BMX pant leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rolled it over and then rolled it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just in time for the bell to ring.
That's
all the kids come out. But can you guess what I hurt?
Ankle.
Your tailbone.
I hurt my pride, boys.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man. That's heaven anymore.
That's like
women
that hurts more than most.
Yeah, that's gotta be. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I was going to say that short story, I was racing at Bella Vista and my shoelace got caught in my chain too
during a stage race.
The more I looked, the more I tried to maneuver, the more worse it got to where it was just pinning me foot even more, and I couldn't touch the ground with it.
It's like the same e-bike things happening, you know, like you're having that same thing where the pedal back is actually worsening the situation.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like you're thinking like, oh, I'll just rotate back because it'll just free it up.
You can't get off your bike.
Yeah.
You can't swing your other leg over because this leg won't touch the ground. So it's like you're stuck. So I'm like leaning on this tree and I'm at a downhill. So my bike wants to go downhill and it's pushing my leg more.
Further, yeah.
And it was just a nightmare. And I'm like yanking and I finally got it out. Long story short, I got it out, made it through, but I know what you're talking about.
This is why this is an anti-e-bike commercial right here. This is why you don't buy e-bikes.
Yeah, right. Tuck your laces in, fold your pants, all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
You
don't
do
wear
not
your
want
work
to go
pants.
through that.
No, it's embarrassing.
This is great.
I mean, there's moments where you're like, I got this. It goes from like, I got this, no problem, to like, oh, damn, I don't think I can get out of here.
Yeah.
I did. I was in a panic mode. I was like, you know, and you're in a race. So it's like, you know, the time's going and you're like, I'm trying to saw it off. I'm trying to yank it off. And I'm just like going, okay, I give up. Somebody help me because I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm like literally stuck.
And didn't Joe come and help you?
No, I got it out.
You got it out? Okay.
Yeah. I got it out, but people were passing me left and right in the race. All the crew, because we were all riding together, all five of us. They're all done. And then finally when I pop out, I just come out like shamed. And I come out and they're
Hurt
like,
pride.
What happened? And I was just like.
So this is what we've discovered is that the chain ring catch really damages your pride.
Oh yeah,
yes.
It is.
Oh man,
it's the worst.
Oh yeah, God. I called Kim. I was like, "You'll never believe what just happened."
I got humiliated.
And so I told her the story, and then at the end, she was quiet for a second. She goes, "I'm embarrassed for you."
I don't know if I want to hear the story.
Exactly.
I was like, enough. I know where this is going.
That's great.
But yeah, and speaking of that, like you've been to you've been traveling around riding too, mostly like Michigan. Like what's
oh, that's up with Kim, right? You've been heading up
Yeah.
there riding.
So what's your take on
Yeah.
that? Like, because I've never really got to ride like somewhere else. I've ridden San Diego.
Yeah, you have.
No, I really haven't.
Oh,
like
wait.
San Diego, all that stuff.
Okay.
And then I come here and ride.
Oh.
But I've never been to like, Spider Mountain,
Sure.
Angel Fire,
Yeah.
or just somebody else's vibe. We almost went to Canoga once, and I always
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that stuff and go, why is everybody all crazy about Bentonville and think it's the greatest thing? Like I see the videos of Canoga and other places, and that stuff looks dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even the Michigan stuff looks super cool.
Man, I think they played down that state a lot. They're like, oh, we don't have that much elevation here, but we have some trails that are fun. And we went on this trail called Stony Creek out there, and
Yeah, I've heard that.
it was so feature packed. I think they put in $850,000 on that trail.
Whoa.
To really just beef it up. And it's one of my favorite trails ever. It's got so much stuff, and you're through the trees, and then there's water. It's really
It
pretty.
looked
It's
nice.
loamy.
The scenery of those shots, I was like, that place looks nice. I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
totally.
man. Yeah. And then their only lift access bike park is called the Highlands.
Yep. Heard
So
that. Yep.
we had no idea what that was going to look like. We got out there, and it was just
I heard
amazing.
it's crazy good.
So
I
dope.
saw all
Like,
your clips and videos of it, and it looks so much fun. Like in you racing,
fun.
and
Yes,
you pre-rode
yeah.
that one, and you were talking it out as you rode it, like okay, and then stay to the left, and then here comes this
Yes.
part, and I was like, man, that was fun, and it kind of reminded me of Summit a little bit, like the vibe of Summit, not like really the same, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like just
So
longer.
the racing, that was Horseshoe Bike Park. So that was a different bike park. So
okay.
that's if you get up into Canada. So from Michigan, you could drive up into Canada.
Oh, that's right. That was in Canada. Yeah.
And it's right there. And Horseshoe Bike Park was a Canadian bike park out of Ontario. And that place was also fun. That's where you saw the footage of the races at.
Okay, that's where you were at. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
But
that looked fun.
That was super fun. That was also fun. But the footage that you saw maybe of like all the drops and the cannon jump where I did the tuck no hander off of it and all that cool stuff in the trees is in Michigan. That's at the Highlands.
Oh, okay.
That
That
system
looked a
is
lot of fun.
epic. Yeah. And then I still haven't been up higher up to their what is it called? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm blanking, but I guess it's pretty gnarly. Like the further up you go, there is a lot more to be had. So
like the further north that you travel, it's like more treacherous.
Yeah, Copper Harbor. I think it's called Copper Harbor
Okay.
Like
up there. And there's just like there's some really good stuff up there. That's where you start to get into their elevation. And but there's another trail system called DTE that we did, river bends, and it's all through the trees. It's an experience. It's really cool.
Man. It looks so much fun, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just
So
to
I think
see
they've been
other
playing that state down.
Yeah.
They've been,
I really
that's
want to
okay.
go to we always talk about like, we should all just meet up somewhere like Utah
or like Angel Fire or Denver outskirts, the mountains, Trestle, stuff like that.
Trestle Bike Park.
Yeah, we should all do like just an all meetup. We'd be down to do that. But Bellingham, I would really love to go to. You've never been there, have you?
I have up in Washington.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was on the trip that we did. Where we flew to Bellingham and then we went up into Whistler a couple days after. But that place, like for free bike park system, trail system, their trail system is like a bike park. Mm-hmm. It's just so
expansive,
crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good signage, super smooth, like professionally built. It looks like you're at a bike park basically.
Mm-hmm. But it's just public
when you're out there. But it's just public.
Well, that's great because that's kind of like, what I feel like our vibe is here. But it's like what you were talking about, having a different terrain, different vibe, and then what does that create, in that area, and get to witness that. So like when you're going to these places, Are you meeting up with locals? Is that how you determine where you go, or are you just going on a whim? I want to go to Whistler. I want to go to Bellingham. I want to go to Michigan. Are you choosing that?
It's a little bit of both, It's like kind of like how I got to Bentonville with, knowing that Scott and you were out there and the Bike Fest was happening. Like, okay, we'll go. The Whistler trip was just like, I don't know anybody out there. Bellingham, I don't know anybody out there, but let's go and
so
we'll go figure it out.
You did a little of both. A little like you go to places people, but then you'll also go places where you just don't know anybody and you're just going to hit it.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing. Our mountain bike community is so amazing. You can go anywhere, not know anybody, and leave with like a pocket full of friends.
Oh yeah. Well, that happened with us.
Yeah.
and you.
Yeah. Right.
That's
totally
the fun thing about all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you generate just like lifelong friends. And I think that was one of the cool things about Bikefest is that, you're kind of seeing people come from all different areas to Arkansas. And
like Marvin's a perfect example of that.
Marvin's a perfect example of that.
We just ran into him out of the blue. And I think it wasn't
at
even
the castle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody in our group ran into him earlier. Or no. So we saw him at the castle, but we didn't really talk to him. We just said, "Hey man, what's up?" or whatever. And then we went to the hub and he was sitting at the bar and I go, "Hey, weren't you at the castle?" Yep. And he goes, "Yeah." And we all just started talking and he kind of hung out with us and then we're like, "Well, let's meet up tomorrow." Like I love
Next thing you know, he's like with us the entire time. He's like just a part of our crew for that time.
Totally.
Yeah, but that's my gig, man. I like doing stuff like that, man. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Owen too. We met Owen at the YT Mill,
and we just like, hey, come hang out with us. And he showed up, and we all rode around, and we had a good time.
Such a good time. That's the community. It's like you can go. Like when I went up to Bellingham, I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know how to get around the trails. And the first person I saw, I was like, well, where's a good flow trail to start on? And is there like a fun jump trail? Oh, follow me. And then next thing you know, we're riding together the whole time. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I like that too. And I try to offer that. I mean, I do a lot. Like I'll just go hang out at Slaughter Pen by myself sometimes and just run into people chatting at the castle, and they're like, well, do you know where this is? And I was like, well, I'll show you. I've met a ton of people doing that, and they all go home and they like my stories and stuff, and sometimes chatting, how you doing, man? And when are you coming out again? And it's like cool to like have like 10 friends from all over the country that I just randomly ran into at Slaughter Pen, and they didn't know where they were going, and I was like, follow me. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I came here for, kind of. I'm not really doing anything but just hanging out.
But then that creates like you end up possibly getting that same thing if you go to their
somewhere else. It's like
their
a
place,
right? Yeah, it's true. I love how you guys bounce off each other, and how Gnarkansas is like, it's more of like a pillar. If I feel like a media pillar that lifts everybody up around them. And for example, like at the Bentonville Bike Fest, Brandon, you were like so knee deep with all the tech stuff with the podcast studio, trying to get everything to work.
Yeah.
And Scott was out, making sure that everybody knew where they were going, getting people for group rides and making sure everybody was taken care of. I love how you guys are in the community like that. It's really, really cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. And I don't think we were really. I think the cool factor for me is that this is natural. I don't feel like I'm working. I don't feel like I need to dedicate time, because that time I would already be dedicating to this same thing anyways. I just want to do it with you.
It's funny that you say that, because it was like going, oh, we didn't really plan anything. We just
that's actually hilarious. We planned nothing for Bikefest.
It was like intuitional, if that's a word. It was just like,
nailed it.
So we're just gonna show up and just do it.
Yeah. What are you guys doing? You want to ride? Okay.
You want to ride? Yeah.
Are we riding? Okay, I'll show you where.
And I think we talked about having like a more like cohesive plan for rides and trails and stuff. But I really think that like when you get everybody together, naturally things just happen. And if you let the flow take over, like that flow state, for not just riding, but like experiencing the adventure of being in a place, right? Like, man, I think too many people are just like, okay, so it's 3:30. We should probably get going, right? And it's like, why? I think we're having fun here, right?
Right.
Why would we leave? It's like, I just think that there's a lot of like pressure when people come to like, gotta ride this trail. And if you just like let it take you, I think you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
There's sometimes just go with it.
Yeah.
There's sometimes people just go, "Are you sure, man? Like, I don't want to take up your time and stuff." And
that's
I'm like,
what I'm
in my head,
talking about.
I'm like going, "Dude, I think I'm having more fun than he is, and I'm showing him around." You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't understand. I'm having a blast right now.
This is
just
fine. Yeah.
follow me.
Right?
Yeah. It's
And being at Bikefest with you guys, like it just didn't feel like work. Like they're not a lick of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those episodes were so fun too. Like when we get the people in the studio, it was like, light them up, let's go.
Absolutely. So like,
Yeah.
man, we should plug that real quick. So like, everybody watching this show, go check out the segment, scroll back a few. And what episode? Do you remember what episode numbers those were?
Yeah, I think 156, 157.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Right in there.
That
Yeah, those
sounds
were
right.
good.
Go
Those were
check 'em out.
broadcasted
Just
through.
So who? Let's Amanda Hamilton.
Yeah, we had Amanda Hamilton.
Yep.
We had Kim
Kim,
Churchill,
of
MTV
course.
Sheen
Yep.
Queen.
Yep.
We also had Madison
Pitts.
Heather Munive
Yeah.
on the show.
Molly.
Molly,
yeah. How'd you get your grit?
How'd you get your grit show?
Yeah.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she
was
represents.
awesome.
Yeah.
really
Yes.
good shows.
Yeah.
And
for
you
sure.
guys had Steve Caballero on,
Yeah,
like
we had.
right before he took off for his concert.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
Cab right before, and honestly, like we were having so many technical difficulties, and very fortunately enough for me, your episodes for the most part did okay. We had a little bit of loss during Heather and Jared and Madison, but we had like 2 episodes that just like the computer crashed, and there was just a lot of things happening that it was out of my control. But it was so just by chance, luck, whatever it is, that Cab's episode, nothing wrong. It just everything worked perfect. You switched for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was
very
fun.
I was very thankful for that.
Oh, dude, I'm like, look at these buttons. What do they do?
Yeah. I love you like running the helm of Naturally Gnar Studio. It's great.
That was cool.
And but yeah, it was really fun to like kind of have the collaborative studio vibe, us working together with you. And
it was a good experience because not the hotspot.
When we were trying to do live,
the hotspot thing was the difficult part because it just wasn't collaborating very well with what we needed, and we wanted to do a lot more. I know we had a few other shows that we wanted to knock out, and it's just with all the difficulties and the time that it took to straighten that stuff out, it just kind of limited us to what we could do.
I think we did as much as we could. Mm-hmm. Like literally, we did. But between time and ability, and then also including everybody's ride time, because there was a ton of like people have to ride. I think at one point we were gonna have Ryan Rodriguez, rider from Propane on. And we just couldn't line it up. And like we did, we did try. And he tried, but it was just we just couldn't.
Had we had like a hard line with Wi-Fi or something like that, we could have just like this show in and out, in and out. But there was always like this 2-hour delay of technical difficulties that we were trying to like. Yeah.
Was it Starlink? Is that what we had up there?
No,
we have Starlink?
We didn't do Starlink, but though I will say I've considered looking into that to see if
Verizon, wasn't it?
It was Verizon, Verizon hotspot. And just for anybody watching this, if you're ever thinking like, oh, could I try that? I think hotspots for like rural areas where you're trying to get internet somewhere random that just doesn't have wires. Yeah, I think to like browse internet Sure. Streaming, on the other hand, you need a constant, solid signal, and if that deviates at all, streaming softwares just don't like it. Even YouTube is just it just doesn't like it.
Yeah. So even though it was capable of accommodating what we needed to stream, it was just inconsistent. It was just up and down, up and down.
And so videos would just buffer, and it was very quick that we knew that we were not going to be doing anything live, but we then decided to pivot to pre-tape,
pre-record. Yeah.
And
I think I remember that on the setup meeting, right? You guys already ran a test, and you're like, "Ooh, here's one quick change. We're going to pre-recorded."
Yeah.
Like, okay. Sweet.
Yeah. And it was just a matter of, I just didn't, the more we could mitigate the problems and control it, it was in our benefit, and for instance, like, had we tried to just stream a Cabs episode, we would have had problems. But then going back to like when we did Molly's episode with you, dude, perfect. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong the whole time. It was great. That was such a great episode. And that was she was great too. She's a pro. She is a pro. Yeah. It's so great. And actually, no joke, all the guests that you had were like pro. They
were pretty good.
They were so good. I mean,
Amanda Hamilton took over the studio.
Honestly, that's who I was talking about. Amanda, if you're watching this, props.
Yes, yeah. I was like, this is easy. I'm gonna go get another beer.
I know you could have like got up. Just left. She had it under control.
She did. She did.
So that was cool. That was cool to see. And I think that if we will probably do it again. Are we gonna do it again? What do you think?
Heck yeah, we're going to
do it again. Okay, all right.
Absolutely. We must have to.
We called it on the show.
I guess we'll have to start getting to work on
start
a plan.
Right. I mean, we had some pretty big folks lined up that we just couldn't. For the things that we were talking about earlier, we couldn't make happen.
Yeah.
Biking with Bobo and Nate Dogg. Our timings just got messed up. They arrived at the studio and I was on a group ride.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Ryan Rodriguez. We got to get him on. And then we had Jeremy Jones, the
Jay Jones.
Jay Jones.
Yeah,
he's going to jump on your guys' show.
I think now that we experienced it and kind of just looked at the whole landscape and the options, like I think we have a lot more options, better options to still be centrally located, but not necessarily have to be subjected to a hotspot. Because that's what we found out. No matter where you're at, whether it be the Bikefest or Kohler, I just think the Wi-Fi feed is going to be the challenge.
So if we do it, when we do it again, where the mandatory is just a hardline internet feed. Like if we have that, we'll be fine.
And I think we have some.
What about that? What about that room at the hub? Like, how off to the side of the cash registers, there's that little room right there?
Totally, yeah.
That place is going to be completely different.
Yeah, it's going to be different. Because they purchased the whole
Peddler's
building.
Pub next door.
Yeah.
What? They did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Peddler Pubs is
the
gone.
pizza place?
Yeah, it moved across the street, which Peddler's Pub is totally cool.
It's actually better.
Yeah, it's
better.
Way better. It's bigger. Yeah. It's
that
across
late night
the street.
Pizza there was so good.
Yeah.
You remember Gearhead across the street? It was like a specialized dealer
bike shop right across the street.
Yeah.
Behind
I think
that,
we parked there.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So Peddler's Pub is behind that in a way bigger building. So they moved out, and the hub took that whole entire building.
So they're
tacos still there.
Oh yeah, no, they're never losing that in the burrito. They have burrito tacos like.
And they're still working on it. So they made the patio cover all that, but by the time Bikefest comes, it's going to be completely done. I'm sure. In a whole new vibe. So we might have a possible option there, but I think we have some other possible options that are going to keep us in the general area to where we can actually have a hard line, but we're going to try something.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's going to be some sort of collaboration and some activation with the hub one way or another.
Yeah. I think for our first year of putting on shows at a big event like that, I think we made a pretty good splash, because we had talked to and contacted some of the bigger folks as far as like popularity wise in the mountain bike community, and they knew about it.
They knew it was happening. Yeah.
Right. So now we just got to build on it. I feel like.
Yeah. No, and I think that you know, I don't want to like spoil anything, but like, you know, talking to some people that knew about it and like say like knew who we were having on, knew about the setup, knew the collaborations that we were doing, messaged me and said, "Oh, I didn't know you were doing it like that." And I was like, "Well, what'd you think we were gonna do?"
Right?
I'm curious.
Yeah, how bad did you think it was gonna be?
I remember when Biker came through. Remember B1?
Yeah,
Robert?
Biker 1. Yep. B1.
He came through and looked at the studio, and he looked over at me. He's like, "Damn."
So this is what you're doing.
These guys, yeah.
That's funny.
No, that's great. But I think that, you know, like you got to start somewhere. And we going into Bikefest, we had a few plans lined up that with Bikefest that fell through. Just to be very frank about it. And we had to make a pivot plan, and the pivot plan that we got that got us closest to Bikefest was Kohler. So shout out to Kohler and you know, much appreciation. Yeah, absolutely. They were very, you know, helpful, welcoming, and allowed us to do what we needed to do.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the one of the lessons we learned, or at least I did, is that we thought that we had to be in the heart of the Bike Fest, and now in retrospect, I don't think that's necessarily a priority anymore. And in fact, for quality,
outside is better.
For quality, a quality product, we need to be probably outside, close to where everybody's at as a whole, because you know everybody's at the Bike Fest and everybody's at the square in Bentonville and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like not necessarily being in the Bike Fest is the priority when it comes to quality, because we're gonna get what we got last time. We need to be somewhere where we can have a quality setup. And so I think that's the priority this time.
That's a great idea.
And we won't and we won't be under as much. I think what I'd like to see out of it is us with a little more freedom, you know, because I think that one of the things that we need as riders during trying to work during Bikefest is like, make it easy so you can go ride. Like that's what we need.
That is the number one priority. Is we want to ride with all our friends.
Yeah. And I mean,
and then we got this podcast thing that we want to do, and we want it to be the best quality.
So I sacrifice myself often. I'm the one that didn't get to ride last time. I had one ride.
We saw you come out on a YT Jeffsy on one ride. I was like, oh hell
busted.
There we go. I mean, you finally made it out. We were stoked. It was like, let's go.
It was fun. Honestly, for the one ride that I got to get out, for like you guys to show up, I was like,
yes, here we are. The crew was back together.
Yeah, and I didn't expect that. I mean, honestly,
they changed the ride, right?
The group ride that we were supposed to,
because you had to meet up at the Bike Fest, and you didn't get a chance to meet him there, so you were going to meet him at the spot, and they changed the spot.
And so
all the way to the castle.
And I changed I was like, well, I'm just going to go ride, you know, Kohler, because I can't. It's the closest place I can get to quickly. And
because we thought they were going to ride there too, but we didn't know they changed it.
But what changed the plan?
I don't remember, but
it was the races.
You were on it,
It was the okay.
All the enduro races I think were going, and so some of the friendly fun trails for like a big group like that, we gotta always take the rides down a couple notches to accommodate everybody.
That's right.
So all the fun, like green and blue trails that we were going to hit were already occupied. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's how we ended up finding you, because we thought it was going to be a Kohler ride. And when we met up with you, we're like, where is everybody? And you're like, I don't know. Where is everybody?
Yep.
And then we're like, I don't know. And then we started like trying to figure out where everybody was. And that's when we figured out they changed it to Slaughter Pin.
So honestly, to me, that's a little bit of the proof that like you got to go with the flow. Like, it's actually just better that you go with the flow, because you're running into people like Marvin, or like, I feel like that's what you're going to get when you just let it take over. You know, you're going to meet new people, experience new trails, maybe even ride a trail that you didn't think you were going to ride, and you're like, wait, this is here? I didn't know that this I didn't know I'd have so much fun on this trail I had no idea about.
Right.
Yeah. That was a fun session because everybody was racing on the green trails, and then the big group ride ended up going over to Slaughter Pen, and so we all got to session as a squad up there by ourselves for a while. That was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance, going with the flow.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that Bikefest taught us a lot, and if anything, the goal is to just do what we did and to have more fun than we did last time. We already had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. Do you go to any other bike fests similar to this? Like any of like the Sea Otter or anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't been to Sea Otter yet. I do want to get to Sea Otter because I guess that's the big industry one, and I think that'd be a great spot, especially being a podcaster, to be able to hopefully talk to the brand folks, marketing people, and see what's new, what's changed, and get them on the show.
Yeah.
Sedona, I go every year to Sedona Mountain Bike
that's
Fest.
right.
Oh, man, that is so fun.
Which we need to meet you out there again, because like when we went to Sedona, we didn't.
It rained the whole time, and I think we got like a 2-hour window on road. And
But that was before we met you, I think, right?
Yeah, that must have been I don't think I went that year because I remember hearing stories about it. It was like cold and rainy.
Yeah,
and
what was it? 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
2022. Yeah, I don't think I was there then.
Yeah.
No.
It was during the move to Arkansas. We stopped there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we got an Airbnb.
That was great. I met them there in Sedona on their way to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Oh,
back
sick.
to Arkansas.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we all did Sky Park Bike Fest together.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did.
Him and I came out there for that.
That was fun.
I am. It's like we've only known each other for a short time, but we've done so much like already. It's like, oh wow, yeah, we have done a ton of things. It's kind of great. Yeah.
And then we did Snow Summit the next day with some of my close friends in San Diego.
That was so fun, dude.
I missed out on that one. Trail Dogs were on that one too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys had
Yeah,
Eric was out there, I think.
That was fun, dude. And like, honestly, like the vibe was so high. Snow Summit is like, I don't know, it's next level. I was impressed.
Yeah. That party wave to West Ridge line with the big jumps on it.
Oh, dude, I was stoked.
We didn't even make it to the step up, but we did the first few. I think the first 3.
Yeah. I
1, 2.
Well, because the day that we went, somebody had died.
On opening day.
On opening day.
Yeah.
And
I heard about that.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right, because like we were doing that. There's those jumps.
There's a big
the
open
West Ridge
turnout afterwards.
And it's like so it's like jump, and then there's like a little bit of a shark fin hit, and then you go towards those bigger jumps, and then the step up.
Okay, so you guys pulled out at that open area.
Open
before
area,
the step up.
Just kept sessioning that.
And we just
first couple
and that felt okay. But there was just honestly, there was just some juju in the air that I just wasn't really.
I'm sure that was so sad.
Unfamiliar was changed a lot, and
it was new for you guys, right? Because that was it after it changed.
Yeah, and I had a close call because I don't know if it was blue steel or whatever, but when you get towards halfway through, there's a big
the hip
thing,
left hip,
a big hip, which is my side, and I
one.
skied it, and Paulo just for some reason came under me, and I would like look down, and I'm landing on Paulo, and he's laughing because he's funny like that, right? And he's laughing, and he just barely gets out of the way, and I was spooked the whole day. I'm like, bro, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, we almost died. We were hauling.
Oh man, that would not be good.
Yeah, it was. It was funny.
I love the awesome. Party wave is the one that the one that's at the top?
Yeah.
That before you get to West Ridge, is that
Ridge.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
And there's like some cool like jumps to like rock gardens that are like towards the top, and there's a hip. So it's like there's the big left hip, and then there's some stuff before that. And I just remember that section just being real hyped on. Like I could just not being there, being like a new person there. Something about that section I could just open brake.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
let it
We
rip
had
through
a lot
there.
of fun.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
like 8 of us, and we just were just bombing stuff and just having a blast. That was so
How
fun.
about that? How about that giant wood berm in there where you're just like
Oh yeah.
forever?
That
Yeah.
was good.
Feels like you're in a wave almost. Just like, wow, this is
that
great.
place.
You know, honestly, one of the things that I thought was so fun, and it's like it's not even a feature or anything, but it's like I think it's on Blue Steel where you're like connecting from one section to another, and it's just a real long downhill open area, and you get hauling.
It's towards the end, and it's got all those brake bumps. Where
Yes,
you're just going,
that's it.
But you're going like
you're going
30
so
miles
fast.
an hour, yeah.
I love that, dude. I was like, yeah.
And then you're just
Right.
peeling your
wrists
hands
are
off,
just
like your hands are stuck
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Your helmet and goggles are like out of sync. You're like,
And
oh no, I can't see. I
And,
can't see.
and you just
I can't
kind
see.
of like hold it. You're just like whatever.
But yeah, you're like
Right.
going Mach speed. Yeah,
Yes.
it's such a fun place.
Yeah, that bike park is cool. That bike park is fun for sure.
But by the time that you, let's see, I don't really know the timeline of Mina. But by the time that you come, we probably are going to have like a lot of extra stuff to look at.
It's already
Nice.
open. The phase one.
That's just phase one,
but
though.
phase 2 is not going to be for a long time. So phase 1 Mina for another road trip. You know, it's like what 3 hours, 2.5.
Mina?
Well, to get to Fort Smith's 45 minutes, but to get from Fort Smith to Mina,
I'm looking it up right now.
But anyways, we got all kinds of options of new stuff. But Mina within the next 5 years is going to be like a legit bike park with chairlift bike park. Yeah.
Oh, sick. So that is legit because we were talking about where it would go, remember?
Yeah.
And there were rumors that it was everywhere. So it's going to be.
It's Mina, Arkansas, which is south of Fort Smith, but it's the most elevated part of Arkansas, pretty much.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Okay, we're both wrong, and I'm a jerk. It's longer, so it's like 3 hours from here. But that's 3 hours from my place. Yeah, about the same from Bentonville, right?
Yeah, to get all the way to 49.
Yeah.
It's
so
about a 3 hour drive.
Yeah, that's a good day.
But
just go out there for a day.
Yeah. But it's the Washitas where this is the Ozarks. The Washitas, it's a little bit different of drive. It's Arkansas. It's Arkansas vibe, but it's just a little bit different terrain, and it's going to be nice for this area to have the heavier elevation and just a little bit different of a terrain. Just a little variance.
Some variety. Little different variety.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of options, and we're probably going to learn more about it leading up to Bikefest. So, you know, depending, you know, the fast, like, I guess we'll call it pre-Bikefest when you come like a day or two early. Like, you know, the quick thing is Eureka.
Yeah.
But if you really want to, you know, go on a little trek, that would be cool to do. Even Tulsa is fun. Turkey Mountain.
Yeah, cold turkey.
And that's an hour and a half away.
Sweet.
And they got a cool system too to go check out. So, man, there's so much stuff.
There's too much.
You're
screwed.
Well, even if if there's a day during the festival where we don't have any shows lined up, or someone cancels or needs to move to another day and it opens up, like, let's get out of town.
And that would make a Eureka trip way more easier.
Yeah, Eureka. And we could also bring a few people that came in for Bikefest. So that's another thing that I think that we could really take advantage of, is kind of like put a posse together of like, hey, we're gonna pop out of the party for a second, go do some cool stuff. You know, I think a few people would be down for that.
Yeah.
I honestly
totally.
like Madison and Jared. They would love.
Yeah, we can
Leatherwood.
round up some good stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
They like
those
some
two rip.
They like some chunky racy type stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, Jared's amazing.
Yeah.
We
Right?
were all like Eureka DH2. There's this it's not a really big gap, but you got to go through some rocky sections, and then it's off a rock, and you just can't see the landing, so you really have to
It's pretty
look
blind.
and kind of scope out the part of the rock you want to go off of to make sure that you're going to go land in the middle. but you're going through chunky stuff and some roots.
And then,
and I finally did it and came back up, and then they all came, and Jared's just like takes off, and he's just popping and hopping and pew 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 pew, boom, and I was just like on.
Oh wait!
That's how you do it.
I'm actually realizing that you're confusing. You're talking about other Jared.
Oh, okay.
Which is also Jared Calhoun. That's who you're talking about.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. And Jared.
Madison's Jared.
Yeah, Madison's Jared.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. I'm
sorry,
so sorry. Your last name.
Yeah.
Ham. It's on the tip of my tongue, dude. I swear.
Oh, Jared?
Jared's last name.
Adcock.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he rips just the same.
Oh man, it's so
it's
good.
like two Jareds. Like maybe that's the trick.
Yeah.
Should have been named Jared.
I need to fill out this form and change my name to
Jared, and that's how you get good.
That's how you
get good.
Should have been named Jared.
But yeah,
Dylan.
Let Dylan. Yeah, change your name to Dylan. You're probably gonna.
God, Mom, if you're watching, you blew it.
Yeah. But Leatherwood, Eureka. We got to get you guys out there because it's one of the best places we have.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's challenging but so doable, and it's just a mix of so much stuff in one trail, and then there's a bunch of trails that have those mixes, and it's just fun.
Well, we're kind of getting close to the end of the show, but I don't want to just cut it. I know that's what happens when you get with your homies. You just start yapping. Next thing you know, 2 hours fly by.
Yes.
So, before we go, there's some things I did want to ask you about your show. Do you have any guests coming up that you can plug or talk about that are coming, that maybe shoot some people over towards your channel?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to have Kyle Strait on the show. It's we're talking about when he has time to be able to jump on. It's hard because he has a little one now, and he has one on the way. Also talking to the other Rampage rider. I forget his last name. He's the rookie, Luke.
It's his first year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
he did pretty well, and so Luke is also one that's possibly going to jump on. I've also been talking with Chelsea, Chelsea Send It, so hoping to get her on.
Very cool.
I haven't quite booked a day with them, but it's in talks right now. So
cool.
I think that would be cool, especially being so close to just having done Rampage to like get their perspective, and then also some of that backstory. Like what took them from ordinary to the extraordinary. How to feel to get that invite to Red Bull Rampage, especially for the women making history this year for the first time ever.
Oh yeah.
And how that felt too, because you're not just doing a gnarly thing, you're also potentially carrying a lot of cool weight of being one of the first women in history to compete at Red Bull Rampage. Like, I don't know. I think that would be amazing to hear her side of the story on that.
Yeah.
I just want to know how many times you have to die to be able to ride that stuff.
You have to have Cat 9 Live.
Yeah,
the Cat 9
right?
to be able to do it.
Yeah. Like,
did you guys see?
How did you not die yet before you got to that level?
Right.
Did you guys see there was a guy, like after Rampage was over, he went out and he did Brendog's line?
No.
All the drops.
The whole thing? And the
that sketchy shoot all the way up to the Dwayne Johnson rock, the rock, right?
Yeah, the rock. Yeah.
Right off of that, and then he hit the gap, and it's like it's POV GoPro, and it looks insane.
That is insane.
Nobody there. It's just him and his voice going, breathing heavy, like I got this.
Oh, and I'm watching this.
Oh yeah, I gotta look that up. That's
it's good.
So insane. I was mesmerized by just that, because once you I'm sure everybody that's mountain biking knows it, but then I have a lot of friends, like my son watched it, and his perspective was, but I'm just like, when you're a mountain biker and you know how the camera makes things look so much easier, you just realize like that's Gnar on camera. Like,
if it looks Gnar on camera,
it is like
it's insane in person.
Yeah. And it's 5 levels higher than that.
That's right.
And you just know, you just look at it and just go, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Like I'm amazed watching it, but I don't even understand how you even do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
when
gonna
you see
be
that guy's.
Well, I was gonna say it's gonna be cool to have to get the perspectives on the show.
Yes.
Because I think that's one thing that's cool about the podcast format is that you're pulling these people who don't normally get a chance to talk about this in a long form. They never actually had a chance to elaborate on how did you feel when that happened, how'd you get there, and how was the trip, and I think that's a lot of stuff that the story between that we don't really talk about.
Right.
Yeah. Like we're kind of fed one story through one lens, right? Through whatever media outlet
Social
that
media,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, social media, Red Bull. But what stuck out in their eyes, like what through their eyes lenses really was the story. Like what was it? And love to find out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Rampage, you got like pretty much like a Rampage series. It sounds like in the books.
I'm hoping. So we'll see.
Segment Red Bull
edition, Red Bull edition,
Red Bull edition,
Rampage edition.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm stoked.
No promises. No promises. I don't have them booked yet, but
I'm sure you'll make it happen.
Yeah, and we know how it is. Like it's really about just getting schedules to align.
Yes.
Booking podcast. I mean, that's something we can definitely relate with you on.
Yeah, right. It changes so much. But then on the other side, on the industry side, there was a guy who put his own sweat and tear money into knee pads. He's called them Avisions, and they are fidlock. So like literally, you just put them around your leg, fidlock top, fidlock bottom, off you go.
Way.
When you're done, fidlock off. Knee pads are off.
That's insane.
Seth did a review on them. He's like, these things are great. They stay on. And so I'm like, who is this guy? And I reached out to
fall on them to see if they stay on.
Yeah, no, they are
actually got to eat it.
Who's willing to eat it?
Right. And I've been rocking them. I've been riding them.
Oh, okay.
Kim introduced me to them, and I was like, what are these? And I just like, you know how it goes, like when you have mountain bike pants on, even it's just really hard. These things, because they're fidlock, you just pop them right over. The backs are open, so it just straps on your leg.
That's so wild.
Fidlock. So comfortable. So
what's the name of the company again?
Avision.
Avision.
Vision. Yeah, Avision.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Those are dope.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the show. And like, what's that like? You go from mountain biker to creative business owner.
Yep.
And what does that take?
Yeah.
What is that? How much? Like, how much are you going to scale? What's your end goal? All that cool stuff. Yeah. And that's such a unique product. It's knee pads, not unique, but the way that he has them answers all of our needs of like, God, dude, I don't want to take my shoes off just to get my pads on. I'm just gonna slide them down to my shins.
And then
that's the
around.
Truth.
Yeah,
walk around. Yeah.
There's a lot of things I think about, when you're like, especially when you have to wear pants.
Yeah.
Because then you got to put your knee pads on before you even leave the house, and then put your pants on. And,
right.
And then you're just like, and then when you want to go out and have some fresh chicken tacos
Yum at the hub.
Yeah. And you're like, I got these dang knee pads on. It's like,
right.
And so that's uncomfortable. So, yeah.
But it's like you said, or I say, our last episode, we had Ben from Flipside on make some these water
the
bottles.
snack and water all in one, right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of sounds very similar to this, where really it's solving a problem. You're engineering a solution, and that for mountain bikers, take my money. Take my money. You fix something here.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's very 100%. Cool. That's very cool.
At the bike park, I was putting them on, and I had the mountain bike pants that don't zip up, right?
Yeah,
from the ankle up.
That's what I have.
So because they're fit, like I just opened both car doors, pulled my pants down just to where I can get to my knees.
Yep. Click.
Put them right in. Click on. Meanwhile, everyone else is like going to a bathroom because they got to take their pants all the way off.
Dude.
Put their pads on. I'm just like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where's everybody?
So convenient.
Yeah, like
super.
You might have just sold us, and we haven't even seen them yet.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to check them out, man. They are
And
pretty
when you're
dope.
injured, you start buying stuff for no reason because you're trying to fill this void of not being able to ride.
You do. Scott does. This guy, he is
fruit.
I
bad.
will say I haven't bought anything yet.
Look, did you not buy your decoy during your last
My knee
recovery?
surgery, I bought it like way too early.
Boom.
It's in fact
Yeah.
so
Boom.
early that it was a month before they put them on sale.
Oh, and he got hosed.
I
He got a
could
little
have.
hosed.
If I would have just waited, I couldn't ride it for 2 months after I bought it. So it's
Oh,
like I
just
bought
looking
it,
at it?
yeah, and then it's like I could have saved
So
$2,000 if I'd have just waited. But I was,
What do you
I
think
was
about
depressed.
the SN? What do you think about the new SN?
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. It's like to bridge that gap between a pedal bike and an e-bike with the weight and stuff, and going back and forth, like, you know, buying an e-bike, I was so paranoid that I just started getting good at jumping, and now it's like this is gonna screw it all up.
So
And
to
it
change
didn't.
that,
And it didn't. And then going back to the Jeffsy, afraid that I wasn't going to be able to jump the Jeffsy or do drop the hammer, and it was like, oh, I actually can jump this better than I used to, and do all this stuff. And then you get the supernatural, and you're like, that might be the Goldilocks of the whole thing.
Seriously,
You know what I mean?
Right?
And and you know, the only thing is it's model 1 of this new thing, and
it's
I
the
hate
first
to buy,
edition.
I don't like the first
Yeah.
edition of a new thing, so it's like
Yeah.
I kind of just I can't buy anything right now anyways, so I'm like, oh, let's see how this plays out. But if I were to buy a new bike and this new genre of bikes, this hybrid e-bike thing pans out,
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested in it.
Right?
Yeah.
It seems like that cool middle ground that could, maybe it's going to be the future of it all. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I do like, I do like the idea of it being playful and poppy and maneuverable, while at the same time giving you the pedal assist, you know, that
Yeah, because I think
you're
that's it.
used
You
to.
just nailed it. Like, it's like I could jump so much better on the decoy, but I can play around so much easier on the Jeffsy. And it's like, how can I make these two meet in the middle? And I think that's
Yeah.
it.
That's it. I think maybe that's why they called it the Supernatural. That bike
Mm-hmm.
literally
Oh,
has
that's
one pedal in both worlds, you
That's
know,
interesting.
Yeah.
bringing it together.
Yeah.
So I
But
think
yeah.
so, but I just want to let it marinate.
See
for
where it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this new thing, and let it marinate and make sure everybody's got all the stuff dialed, you know.
Yeah.
That the technology is like where it needs
Where
to
it needs to be and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and because I'm injured and I really don't have any money to spend,
Also that.
to spend on a
There's
bike,
also
Yeah.
that.
I think everything's playing out just right.
Just fine.
This is me,
Yeah.
and also me.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
we're good there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
Hey, is it cool? Can I plug something new that just literally dropped today?
1000%.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This right here, this
Oh,
jersey
yeah.
made by Tasco is called their mullet. And what the mullet is, it's a reversible. So like they're gonna have like fun designs on one side, and then on the other side it's gonna be super tame. So this is like the plaid version, but if I turn this inside out, you'll kind of see the logo right here for the folks that are watching.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes,
you
yeah.
have the
This
party in the
jersey will
back on
turn
right
black.
now.
This is the party
Exactly.
on the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the party on the back.
Yeah.
And then if I flipped it inside out, it'd just be
It's
all
chill,
black
it's
with
tame.
the white Tasco.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's
So-
cool because you have like it really is two jerseys in one. You're literally
Right.
getting two jerseys
Come on.
for the price of
with
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
They just dropped today. So if anyone goes to Tasco and looks, there's like I haven't seen all the designs yet, but the first batch, Scott, you said you saw like a
the tie
like
dye.
a tie-dye, that's
The
it.
tie dye reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like dark purple on one side, right? And then inside out it's tie-dye on the other.
It is black on the. I think it's black, and then you flip it over and it's all tie dye.
Oh,
tie-dye.
so I
Oh,
wonder
sick.
if all of them are black and then
Is
the
business
flip
black?
or whatever.
Maybe business is black, and then there's
Oh, maybe party in the back.
Yeah.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
party
Yeah.
the party is the design and then the business is the black.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
Tasco, man. I've always worn their gloves, still do.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, and then honestly, like there's just that, you never really know. It's like, am I going to be loud today or am I going to be toned down today?
Mm-hmm.
For your riding app, styling.
The cool thing is it's unfortunately it's not too popular out here, and I always got the Misfit gloves on, so everybody's like, "Dude, cool gloves!" All the time.
Oh, right, like
that's awesome.
Where'd you get those?
Where'd you get those?
Yes.
I'm like, Tasco, bro. Like, you don't know what Tasco is? You're missing out.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because it's a Southern California brand or
I think so.
just
they had a booth out here. Not this previous one, but the one before. But I don't think they were out here just this last one, though. I don't think so.
Well, I think I think Tasco as a brand is getting bigger. I feel like the growth is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you're right though. It's a Southern California brand, and I mean, just getting more awareness out here, I think, is really easy to gravitate towards something, from California, because California honestly has been a trendsetter for the middle Americas for a long time. And I've always said that Arkansas is kind of like 10 years behind, so maybe Tasco will be popular
right
in a decade.
couple more years.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, mountain bike capital of the world.
And y'all will be like, man, I've been wearing Tasco for years. Where y'all been at?
Yeah.
But
and I love his story too. His Nate, the owner's story, is so cool. He wanted to start T-shirts for some of his buddies that were doing XC races, and then that went from like printing T-shirts in his bedroom to then like other people wanting them, and then like, okay, so then moving his operation to the garage.
Yeah,
he started doing it there, and then all of a sudden it started taking off in the mountain bike world. And he went from the garage to a couple of years back he got into his first full warehouse. It's just, man,
that's great.
It's so cool to see. And he was just a hardworking dad before that. He still is a hardworking dad, but you know what I mean? He was able to like break the golden handcuffs and start up something around his passion.
Yeah, and that's where I started being a supporter, just living in San Diego. So you're just looking for, local stuff, and somebody turns you onto a local brand, and you're like, oh, I'll support that.
Yes.
And that's where I started, with the gloves anyways,
Yeah, those Misfits are dope. Those are dope.
My favorite.
Skeleton hands.
By far the standout glove version.
For me now, I feel like I can't wear anything else. Like I can't.
You're like locked in.
I'm locked in. Like everybody's like, oh, that's the dude with the gloves.
Yeah, the dude with the gloves. That's great.
The dude with the skeleton gloves or whatever, and it's like, well, now I have to wear them. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
So that's the cool part of them not like having a whole lot of traction out here is I'm the only one wearing those gloves.
Right.
Same with YT before they were here. When I first moved out here, it's like there was no YTs.
Right.
Like, I would look and what bike is that? What bike is that? Now it's the opposite.
I feel like I could see Tasco being sold in YT. Do they do that? Do they have that? Do they have other brands? Or they just sell YT stuff?
Just the YT stuff, yeah.
But I feel like I could see it's like they're just SoCal brands bringing SoCal brands to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like that would be cool. Similar vibe.
Yeah.
Or a collab or something.
Yeah, or a collab. I could see them collabing.
What did Tasco and ODI? Was it ODI?
That sounds right. Oh, the vans.
Yeah, they had a collab.
They did the vans, the waffle grip.
The grips.
Oh,
Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Was it
did
ODI?
The waffle grip. They did the waffle grip.
It was ODI, but no, you might be right. Was that a collab?
Yeah, because I think on the ring, the metal ring for totally the grips, right. There's the Tasco in orange, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have a set, but I could have swore I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. Internet, fact check us.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fact check us.
I wasn't calling it fact, I'm guessing, but I did see something. But
guess check us. Yeah, you can guess check us. Yeah.
Yeah. Another SoCal brand that's been awesome. And Scott, I think you're on the same tires as well. And Brandon, you had Versus tires.
Yes, by far one of the best tires I've ever ridden so far.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Oh, good.
I don't want to talk poorly about it, but the day I wrecked,
you were on them.
Brand new tires. That were not Versus.
Oh.
And I'd been riding
Versus.
He had
an issue with his tire.
a long
and
time.
You had to get a replacement.
I had to get a replacement, local replacement. Retrospect, I probably should have reached out to Versus. They probably could have sent me something.
I don't even think you had enough time though.
I did because it was for a ride or something. Anyways, I bought a set of tires, and I'm not going to cast any shame on them, but it was just, I will say it was just different. And Versus, when the day that we met up and I was riding the Jeffsy, I was riding Scott's Jeffsy.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried about riding somebody else's bike. It's like riding somebody else's skateboard. You know what I mean? It's like, it just feels weird in some ways. And after I rode, I said, you know what? I felt really comfortable on the bike. And I think that one of the key factors was the contact point, the tires. They were the exact same, the downhill casing.
The
Versus. Yeah. And I felt so comfortable. And I really think that was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of the comfort.
Love those tires.
Yeah.
If they had a 2.6, I would get those for
they only do 2.4.
Yeah, Brett tried to talk me into it. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't know why.
I rode them.
No, for the e-bike, it's
case,
like I've only ridden 2.6s on that thing, and I don't think I can do it. What do you have?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you do have the 2.4s. Is it a big difference?
Rocking the.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference. I mean, is it 2 millimeter difference?
Yeah.
So for 2.4 to 2.6, I honestly can't tell. I put them on and I'm like, sweet, these are teal.
These are teal. I get the teal ones. Okay, yeah, cool. That's cool.
However, I do like the Vittorias. They're amazing.
Oh, you went to Vittoria.
Well, I originally had those, and then I went to Schwalbe's, and those were terrible. Yeah. And I went back to Vittoria's, and I felt good again.
Well, I went to Continental, and
I've heard good things.
Yeah, and so I did too. One thing I didn't realize is that there is some little icons that are on the side on the sidewall. Mm-hmm. And the icons represent different levels of their casing and like the different compounds. And each icon represents something different about the changes. And I was talking to Finn about it, and he was like, "Oh, Continentals are great. What, you had a problem?" And I was like, "I don't know, but all I can say is the first time that I put him through like a heavy ringer, I go to the hospital." Mm-hmm. And for years before that, I was fine on Versus. So something. Then he's over at our place, or I can't remember where, it was Arkansas Enduro, Bella Vista. And he looks at my tires and he's like, "Oh, there's your problem right there." And I was like, "What is it?" And I didn't even know what he was talking about. He's like, "Oh, it's just the icons. You don't have like the like they're good ones,
the
right?"
Soft ones.
Yeah, and I was just like, and I came from the hard casing, the downhill casing from Versus. So I think it was really just like changing the compound so drastically.
Yeah, because the E-Mazdas for Vittoria are same. It's real similar to Versus. The casing's super stiff.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like. So it's just they have 2.6s, and so I keep going back to that. But
yeah. I really like how they have on the Versus tires, they have that accordion side knob.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's so different because all the other side knobs I look at, it's a knob, but to have that accordion side knob. So for the folks that don't know what I'm talking about, it's kind of ribbed all the way across the side knob on the outside. So when you're leaning the bike on that side knob, that rib allows that knob to conform to whatever's on the trail. So whether it's rocks or pebbles or whatever, it's supposed to conform to the trail. So increasing your grip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is like, I love that feeling of it. So I'm always looking at other people's side knobs now that I've been on the Versus, and I really trust those.
No, and another thing I'll point out about their side knobs is that the rigidity that they hold after time. So one of my complaints was coming from Maxxis is that you ride Maxxis for a while, and you take those knobs, you can just turn them. You can literally just take them and turn them over. Mm-hmm. And Versus, the whole time they stay the exact same shape, like that height. And I mean, there's the conform where they conform and grab, but they stay upright.
Yeah.
And
when
that,
you can twist them with your bare hands, and
what do you think? What do you think that does on the trail?
Yeah, the velocity you're throwing into a berm, like that's awful.
Right.
And that's why. No, and I'm just putting this out there. But why do you think people who ride Maxxis have to change their tires so much?
Yeah, it's just ripping off.
It's just ripping them off. And I mean, I've had it. It's happened to me.
I've noticed too, like, and maybe it was a COVID thing, maybe it was a quality control thing. I feel like a lot of folks, their sidewall on the Maxxis have been leaking. I'm like, what's on your sidewall? And
like it's leaking through the rubber, right?
the sealant.
The
Yeah,
sealant's leaking through the rubber.
exactly.
Yeah, so it has to be some
Yeah.
sort of like porous nature of the curing process.
Might be, and maybe it's just I just noticed it, but I don't know. I've been noticing it a lot, and
Yeah.
who knows too? Because man, when they had the big bike boom, right? When we had the big COVID bike boom,
Manufacturing.
yeah, I'm sure.
They
I'm
were
sure, especially
manufacturing
with
a lot.
somebody big like Maxxis. I mean, it's probably hard to really,
Yeah, they could have been manufacturing and then just backstocking stuff, and then
just
maybe
trying to keep up.
maybe some age
Yeah.
elements came into play. I don't know. I don't want to bash them like completely,
No,
but I just
definitely.
I know that all of us in this room here have had positive experiences leaving a popular.
Coming from a manufacturing side, and you have material issues, and you have to find an alternative, which could have been whatever the ingredients they use to make that rubber. You know, it's like, hey, we can't get it from here. We have to get this ingredient from here, and it can just change the whole dynamic of it, of the tire itself, and that's possible.
Yeah, or just to keep up with the demand, maybe they had to go to like, okay, let's turn on the light to this factory that we haven't used before, just to keep up with demand. And
then that
maybe
one
that's where
change,
some of the
and that can make the whole finished product be a little different.
right. So kind of a luck of the draw there, maybe.
And then you manufacture 100,000 of them.
Yeah, and then they got to roll through the system,
and they got to sell them.
What is this?
Yeah, they got to
Exactly.
sell them.
So,
totally
understand.
So. But yeah, I don't want to be too speculative. We don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, this is obviously who knows, but yeah. So tires are
then you
fun.
find a smaller brand that didn't have that problem, and you're like,
And you're like,
"These tires
well,
are amazing."
This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. For like 3/4 the price, this is awesome.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And I think the one thing that we do know is that these tires are coming from different factories. These aren't coming from the same factory, so we're getting a real difference. There is a real difference there.
Right.
Frames too.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And then the Versa story is also cool. He's also a dad who wants to, make sure that his son sees a lot of cool things and gets to do cool things, and they get to spend time together. So it's like, man, gotta support that.
Yeah, I met Scott through a mutual friend in the skateboard industry. I just so happened to be out here for the Bikefest visiting, and he's like, "Oh, my buddy has a tire company out there. Go hit him up. His name is Scott. You should have a booth." And I was like, "Hey, do you know Schmitty?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I know Schmitty." So we were like taking a picture. That's how I met him, anyways.
That's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's a good guy, huh?
yeah,
for
he's
sure.
A cool guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, we've exceeded our 2-hour mark. That's usually what we try to aim for.
Wow.
We blasted through some stuff, and you know what ends up happening? I always say this when we get to this point, when this episode could easily go for another 2 hours. We just gotta have you back.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're just gonna have to have you back on another season.
Yeah, I would love to. I know originally I was supposed to be back out there for Outer Bike. And
I know.
fell
Yeah,
through,
that's what we were originally planning for this episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I want to be there in the studio, like sitting there.
Yeah,
I see that I'm there. I'm there.
you are
but,
there. You are here.
I got a microphone and my own chair and everything.
You're here. But yeah, no, I think that we got a firm / loose plan for Bikefest, so we'll start to aim for that. So everybody check that out. Also, just to call back. Most active people in the chat. By now, I've already announced it. People have already, won these.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So
it has to be like engagement, like
don't be lame, y'all.
Not like hi send, how send, r send, you send. Like ask
we want
questions.
real activity. So
real activity.
So yeah, if you were one of those lucky people, either reach out on social, Gnarkansas, Instagram or something like that. We'll connect. And we'll get it.
Nice.
But yeah, so thanks, Mark, for providing said spy optics.
Courtesy of Mark Hill, Spy
Yeah.
Optics. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And check out Mark Hill's The Segment podcast.
Yeah,
awesome shows, awesome
the
guests.
segment PR on YouTube and on Spotify. Make sure you check both.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Like, follow, all that good stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, so many good stories out there. 165 of them right now, and then hopefully more and more
going,
to come. So,
and
yes.
going. Yeah,
Yes.
very good. Right on. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming. Thanks for giving us your time, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely.
Right
Good to
on.
see you, boys.
Okay.
Can't wait to be back out there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you, brother.
See you, everybody.
Choo.